Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. And this is TWitWoW in review. We review this week in the world of wrestling. It's been very productive on the TWitWoW channel as of late. Just came out of, Wrestle Kingdom and Dream Queen before that, done a little bit of TJPW already. There's a lot going on in the wrestling world. New Japan's making a lot more money. And even WWE has got some talks that has, the whole world buzzing. So I'm guessing this is going to be quite a substantive episode. Partner, how have you felt about this week in the world of wrestling?
Pretty decent. Not as enthusiastic as I had really hoped to feel, but general vibes, I would say trending more positive than negative overall.
All right, well, let's get into it. Now, partner, if you don't want to talk about this, that's fine. But I know you've kind of given me the lead, and I'm kind of internalizing that. Do we want to talk about the elephant in the room
We
with
have to.
Vince
We
WWE
do. We
and
have
talk
to,
to?
yes. Because it's actually
Yeah,
had even more
yeah.
developments today, because I actually saw today that apparently WWE has hired JP Morgan to help lead sale talks. And there's been a list leaked of potential buyers.
Yes. So let me just tell you where I'm at with that. I knew about JP Morgan. I thought the CNBC article I saw, which that's another reason, guys, that that this is going somewhere, because
Yes.
CNBC, Wall Street Journal, they don't waste their time on wrestling bullshit
Mm-hmm.
unless it also intersects with their bullshit, which is like
Mm-hmm.
financial,
Business.
capitalism, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
The way CNBC made it seem was these were like prospective buyers in the sense of speculation, not like, oh, they've made a bid. So do we know anybody that's actually made a bid on the company?
Well, I saw the same CNBC article as you, so it's probably just that I didn't catch the speculative part, and you're probably just right.
I I don't know, because here's the thing, the people. Okay, so let's take a deep breath, because actually, what I'd like to talk about first in the discussion, I'd like to go from worst to potentially best. Although I don't really think there's a best quote unquote buyer. I think there is in one way, but there's nuance to that, and we'll get to that. We know that Saudi Arabia is interested.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing was,
Specifically,
CNBC.
the Crown Prince MBS.
Yes. So we know, partner, that the CNBC article did not talk about Saudi Arabia, which
Yeah.
I found to be a very interesting omission. That said, I'm just gonna, I guess, start the discussion since I was the one that broached you. Should we even talk about this? You said we have to, so I'll get started. I think Saudi Arabia would be far and away the worst purchaser of this company, and I think one of my knee-jerk fears is, because here's the thing, with WWE still being, WWE, not really being sold at the time, and doing these crown jewel shows and everything else, I think they were able to be in a position of power to negotiate, hey, let our women on your shows with caveats. I think if Saudi Arabia purchases WWE, you could say goodbye to women's wrestling altogether,
Yeah.
in my mind. Because I don't think
Well,
culturally
in
and
WWE,
propaganda-wise you'd want to play with
it
that.
could create a thriving women's wrestling scene outside of WWE, but women's wrestling in WWE would just be gone.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think we could speak of, if Saudi Arabia went ahead and purchased it, I don't think we could speak of a WWE women's division. So I don't know if anybody thinks that my fear is unfounded, which, I mean, I'm open to hear all opinions, of course. But that's just my worst fear. What are your fears potentially? Okay, first of all, because I know you like to be grounded, so I'll ask you a two-part question. How worried are you that the Saudi purchase could actually happen? Like, how
Very.
realistic do you think it is? So very okay. So then the second question is viable. What are your worst fears about the purchase? Because I already mentioned the women. I'm guessing you and I share that one.
Well, I mean, realistically, just human rights violations in general, women notwithstanding, it's Saudi Arabia. I mean, that's kind of what they're known for, and especially this specific regime who's obsessed with their own image and doing horrible shit, but then trying to spin it in a way that makes them not look so bad. That's kind of their whole shtick, right? That's kind of that's literally why they're in bed with WWE in the first place, is basically as a fucking propaganda machine. So that's what it would be. The WWE would become the Fox News of Saudi Arabian government.
Yeah, I think you hit more or less hit the nail on the head there. I will say too, before we keep going through prospective buyers, because I told my family this, and Christy and Chris were shocked. Like, because I don't talk about wrestling much with them, but when it's like more meta stuff like this, always let them know, like, oh, hey, Ash and I are probably going to talk about this on the show today. Vince McMahon's got to be the pettiest motherfucker on the planet, dude. Because, like, I look at this, and again, this is just an outsider's perspective. That's really all this podcast is. It's just two outsiders' perspectives as fans. I look at this and I really think that Vince's just reaction to potentially overly simplify it is, well, if I can't have this, fuck all of you. I'm going to take it away from everybody and give it to somebody else. Like, it just comes off so petty to me. But then again, if it's him overseeing a sale, I have to wonder if a sale would have happened without him anyway, but I don't know why it would. So how much of this is even his fault, I guess, is my next question. Have more of a sensible conversation. Do you think a sale would have happened inevitably, even if he wasn't involved? Do you think this is just him sticking it to everybody that kind of
Well,
outed
wasn't
him
the
and was
whole
like,
reason that
fuck
he
you?
brought Nick Khan on as whatever the hell president, whatever role he gave Nick Khan in the first place? Wasn't the whole thing already that he brought Nick Khan on to prep for a sale, and then all those releases were because Vince wanted to sell the company, and it makes the company look more valuable with the profits and shit to sell it. Like that was the whole. Like we knew a long time ago that Vince
Yeah.
wanted to sell the company, that this was coming. It just feels like now it just feels sudden because we thought Vince was out of the picture, and now not only is he not out of the picture, but his whole agenda of wanting to sell the company is back on, seemingly.
Yes. Yes. Um. Yeah. You know what? You are right, because this has been an ongoing saga. I even want to say for at least 3 years, if not long. It's been a long-standing story in the wrestling
Yeah,
community
I mean, I
that
would
I think
say that
only
it probably
now.
started in, I would say at least 2020, if not earlier.
Yeah, no, I agree with that timeline completely. And now I feel like this story has legs because I mean I did a Facebook post about it because I've opened up a bit more about talking wrestling on my Facebook. That's usually more for like my personal life stuff and my philosophy stuff. But I even said like wrestling journalists, quote unquote, because we already talked about in a previous commentary the state of journalism in pro wrestling is a goddamn joke. I would say the state of journalism more broadly is a joke, but that's a separate subject matter. But I think now this story is finally getting legs because it is getting mainstream coverage. Before, I feel like it was such a niche thing. Like only people in our bubble were talking about it, right? But now when you've got CNBC and these other places talking about it, it's like, oh no, shit's happening. Shit's definitely happening. So I guess to continue to go through the list of prospective buyers in the article, I'm immediately disqualifying Warner Brothers Discovery because of the AEW partnership. Do you think that that's disqualifying for them, or do you think that they could work that out? Because I immediately think conflict of interest.
I'm sorry, John. I was reading something when you said that. Can you just repeat the last few things you said?
Oh no, of course. I said going back to the prospective buyers. I personally am immediately disqualifying Warner Brothers Discovery because of the AEW partnership because I immediately think conflict of interest. I don't
Right.
know if maybe you would have a different
Is it a
perspective for
conflict of
me, and
interest or is it a potential monopoly that they want to take advantage of?
would that even? Okay, obviously it's a foolish question because it doesn't matter even if it's legal. I was about to ask, is that even legal? But even if it wasn't, when has that stopped a corporation before? I don't know. I don't know. I would think that AEW would have a problem with it. You can't have a monopoly in my mind unless all parties cooperate. And Tony Khan is so fucking petty. I can't imagine Tony Khan would be cool with this. He'd be like, what are you doing? Um, so I don't
Well,
know.
to be fair, though, to be fair, AEW is not owned by Time Warner Discovery, whatever the hell the conglomerate's name is. Uh, so, and I believe that there were rumors, at least, that negotiations were coming up for their TV slots. So there is a very real chance, in my opinion, that is it WB Discovery, I think is what it's called now.
Yeah, Warner Brothers Discovery
There's a
is the
very
name that
real
I saw.
chance, and I'm not saying that this is likely, I'm just saying that from a business standpoint, I could see it happening. They got a taste of what it feels like to have live wrestling again. They want back in, but they don't want to settle for second best. They want the big boys, so they buy WWE and let AEW walk.
You know what?
Maybe we get
Maybe.
a
I
complete flip where the WB Discovery channels start being where we watch WWE, and then because there's an opening, maybe AEW goes to USA Network.
Yeah. That's an okay. We're actually going to talk about the network in a little bit with other options because it's funny you mentioned the network. So here were the two. Not saying best because I'm saving the big one for last, and I think you know the one that I'm kind of gearing up to. But the other two that interested me, I saw some people were interested in Liberty Media buying them. I don't even know who the fuck they are. Apparently, they own Formula One racing and stuff
That's
like
the
that.
one
And they
that
have a hand in
DBK wants
UFC.
to do it because he loves Formula One, but that's like a very shallow and biased take, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I've never even heard of that network. It seems like very niche. I think if you're gonna sell, you're gonna sell to a big name that everybody knows. So the two that intrigue me the most, I'm not gonna lie to you, and again, not best because I'm saving that one for last. Amazon and Netflix. And I gotta be honest, man. Talking about Netflix first, you know the joke that I made to Christy? I'm like, I'd love to see it because I guarantee you they cancel Raw after 2 seasons. Like, I think Netflix would be all. Netflix is not getting good press right now. Netflix is not doing well. People have gotten sick of them canceling so many shows. And not only that, on a bigger level, they're ending password sharing soon. And I don't know how the stocks are doing, but I don't think it was that long ago that the stocks were taking a beating.
Dude, I
I
don't
feel like if I'm,
see
yeah.
how Netflix's business plan is in any way compatible with WWE at all.
Dude, I don't need. They already experimented in the wrestling space with Lucha Underground.
Not
And
I
like,
mean, dude, I know we love Lucha Underground, but we really cannot call that a real experiment. That was a flash.
that is true.
That wasn't a drop in their bucket. That was nothing. That was like the closest that
No, I
they've
mean,
ever.
there's a leagues of difference between WWE and Lucha Underground. I
But
understand that.
what
I
I'm
just don't
saying though is
know.
the closest that they've ever come to experimenting with wrestling content would be Glow.
Yeah.
But
Glow, I think is a good example.
But
Yeah.
regardless, the big difference that I'm saying is incompatible here is that Raw and WWE and, you know, today pro wrestling in general, the thing that makes it incompatible with Netflix is that it's fucking live. And Netflix is all about that video on demand library. They don't even do weekly releases. So like you don't air anything live. What the fuck are you going to do with Monday Night Raw? Are you going to have Monday Night Raw film fucking like are you going to do like with Pokemon Journeys where you have them film like 13 episodes ahead of time and put them all on your service at the same time? No. That's ridiculous. It's just incompatible. And it's up until this point, it sure as hell seems to me like Netflix is completely unwavering from their binge model.
I mean, okay, here's the thing. There are certain series on Netflix that do weekly releases, but WWE doesn't even do that now with Peacock, and they didn't even do it before with their own network.
Exactly.
Because, so say an episode of Raw, what would be the next episode of Raw? Next episode of Raw would be the 9th. So January 9th episode of Monday Night Raw. I don't even think that would be available on Peacock until February 9th, because my understanding is it takes a month for those episodes to get up. No way you can do weekly releases. So
Right.
yeah, I don't see how Netflix works. Now let's talk about
I think
Amazon.
Netflix is out. Amazon does air Thursday Night Football live, so they at least have some precedent for airing live television weekly. So, as much as it would be a fucking workers' rights fucking disaster for WWE's wrestlers specifically for the company to get bought by Amazon, would it really be that much worse than it already is?
I don't think so, and I don't know, man. Because, see, here's the thing. I think if you have more so than Netflix, because I just think Netflix is a toxic asset right now. I don't even know if that company even knows what the fuck they're doing. It just doesn't seem as strong as it was, obviously, when it started. When I think about if the goal is, all right, I'm gonna start here because obviously there's always political nuance to everything, and I'm suppressing the leftist in me, and I'm trying to focus purely as a wrestling fan as best I can. If my goal is to not only keep wrestling accessible to me as an individual, but an even higher aspiration of making wrestling mainstream again, I think your two best partners personally are Amazon and the one I've been saving for fucking last, motherfucking Disney. Disney's the huge one. As a leftist, and this will only be the political time point I enter here, I'm terrified of Disney buying because we really need to talk about how huge that monopoly is. I get that we're all Marvel simps. Well, most of us. Maybe there are some people in our chat that prefer DC or just don't like the whole thing altogether. But Monopoly's fucking huge, right? They're a media fucking conglomerate. If corporations are people, with this, which this country, by the Supreme Court says corporations are people, Disney's one of the most powerful people just in the country, if not the planet. So WWE would just be another tendril in their media empire.
Yeah.
However, I just keep thinking about the image of WrestleMania on Disney Plus, and I'm like, how does, like, I think every party finds that attractive to me. So Disney was the big one to me. I think that's the most likely partner domestically, because obviously internationally Saudi is a problem, but domestically, I think Disney is the biggest prospective buyer. How do you feel about Disney and WWE finally getting in bed together?
I really think that it's going to come down to either Disney or Comcast. NBC Universal is Comcast because they already own Peacock. They're already in bed with WWE. So that's like the most natural thing to me is for them to just keep Peacock as the WWE network, basically. So yeah, I do think, and here's the thing too. I don't know if you remember. Obviously, you're aware of it, but I don't know if you remember how big of a deal this was. There was a big bidding war between Comcast and Disney for Fox and its assets. Remember when Disney bought Fox and there was like this big deal thing like, oh my God, we're finally getting, the X-Men and the Fantastic Four and shit back on Marvel. Well, there was a big bidding war for that, and it was between Disney and Comcast. I think we could get the exact same bidding war for WWE.
I have to feel like, now I'm not a financial guy, thank God. But I just have to feel like, I assume Disney's pockets are deeper, but I could be wrong. Maybe Comcast is packing more heat than I'm giving them credit for. I just feel like any bidding war. If
Comcast's huge. Comcast is worth. I'm seeing right now. Comcast has a market capitalization of more than $160 billion.
God damn.
And Disney's right around there too. Disney's at around 171 billion. So they're pretty fucking neck and neck, all things considered.
Really just okay, so then let's shift the discussion. We both agree that the most prospective buyer Comcast did, because I agree with you. I'm not even entertaining Netflix. I'm not entertaining WBD, Warner Brothers Discovery. Liberty Media, I don't even know who the fuck again that is. So I don't even think WWE is going to bite on that. To me, the three biggest prospective buyers: Saudi Arabia internationally, and then domestically, if we're keeping the talks to domestic, Comcast and Disney.
Well, and so dude, here's the thing too.
Yeah.
If this was just like a blind bid where just like one, you tell WWE what you're willing to pay them and they just accept the highest bid initially, I think MBS could realistically offer them something, enticing enough that they would be willing to sell to him. But that's not how capitalism works. And there is zero fucking shot that Disney and Comcast are going to let Saudi Arabia buy WWE, knowing how much more capital they've got than him. Because like I looked it up, MBS is worth like 25 bill, which is obviously a fuck ton in reality. But when you're competing against Comcast and Disney, you're not competing actually.
Right.
So I really do think that if this sale really is happening, it's going to come down to either Comcast and WWE just stays on Peacock, or Disney. It's really what it comes down to me. And really the thing is too, if Disney does end up buying WWE, it still barely has to change, because then you just move the streaming from Peacock to Disney Plus, and then the live shows just all go on Fox and Fox Sports Plus or whatever, Fox Sports 1 I think it is, instead of USA Network, because it's already on Fox, which is already owned by fucking Disney.
Yeah. It just seems to me, with us talking about it, that Comcast would have the greater incentive in my mind to purchase WWE because of Peacock and everything else that you've already noted. But Disney, man, because to me, I'm also thinking too, if we're thinking about WWE as an asset, so let's kind of change the vantage point of the discussion a little bit. We've talked about buyers. Let's talk about what they're buying. WWE is an asset. I wonder who would have the vision to get more mileage out of it. NBC, I can almost see them just kind of automating it. We've already got Peacock, whatever, just keep doing business. I would wonder if Disney would have any plans to want to further integrate WWE into its model. Like if they would want to do potentially like any WWE and Marvel crossover. I doubt it.
That's kind of the interesting thing here, right? Is because like Comcast with NBC, they already have a hand in like airing live sports games. They don't have that much of a hand in WWE, other than, obviously specifically SmackDown airing on Fox, and that's a new thing, right? Disney doesn't have live programming really. I mean, Fox has like the live news shit, but that's, and obviously fucking, as you know, Tucker Carlson is like the number one show among boomers in the fucking country. But if
Yeah.
if they really wanted to get into like that appointment television, can't miss live sports segment of the audience that they do not have at all, WWE might be their way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, like
I
I just
honestly, dude, and we've been saying this pretty much since we found out that Vince wanted to sell. I honestly think that Disney buying WWE is not only the best case scenario for the WWE as a product, I think it might even be a match made in heaven for Disney as a company. Because it really is one of the few things left that they don't already fucking have, which is a live sport, basically.
yeah. Yeah. It's oh god. I mean, something big is coming.
Plus,
I,
by
I
doing
feel
that,
like.
they hurt Comcast because they
Yeah.
would take WWE away from both being airing or from Peacock is what it is. It's from they're taking it away from Peacock.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
because then
like,
everything would go over to Disney Plus.
well, yeah. So like,
Which,
yeah.
yeah, I just
And I actually, in that same CNBC article, they even mentioned, we've got to remember Bob Chapek just got fired. Bob Iger just got brought back. He might want to make a big move to be like, hey y'all, I'm back and I'm better than ever, like Eric Bischoff, and be
yeah,
like, yeah, like this is like his fucking thing now. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I mean, again, man, I just keep thinking about this image of seeing the WrestleMania logo on the Disney Plus front page, and like,
I don't know if I love it or hate it. I think it's both, honestly. I think it's both.
well, because here's the thing. When Christy and I were talking about it, because here's my family, and I don't say this judgmentally, I love them dearly, but my family isn't nearly as far left as I am, like not even close. And Christy, bless her heart, she thought, if Disney takes over, maybe that would be better for the wrestlers. And I'm like,
Yeah, have
I
you
really
heard
don't
how
think
Disney
so.
treats its animators?
Yeah, like Disney would look at how WWE has them framed as independent contractors, and they're taking fucking notes. They're
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, so they work for you and you don't have to give them health care?
And
Amazing.
you can prevent them from working for the competition for a whole 90 days after they leave your company. Holy shit.
So you can practically sanction them legally for leaving you. This is amazing.
Oh, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that if they get hurt through no fault of their own, that you can hold them hostage until they finish their contracts? Oh my god.
Yeah, that mouse is popping a stiffy unlike anything we've ever fucking seen. Uh, but again, when I think about the advertising potential, the crossover. I'm not even talking about content for us fans, although that's another interesting discussion. I am talking about in terms of marketing.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine a commercial? I don't think they would ever do it because I don't want to promote that kind of out, but a commercial where, like, I don't know, Mickey Mouse eats a pedigree from Seth Rollins or some fucking shit. Like, it's fucking insane. When I think about what they could do with this, and again, streaming is always going to, I mean, if you want to survive, looking at you, Netflix, because again, things are not good over there. If you want to survive, I'm even wondering if one day Disney would be able to live stream Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown as it's happening. I'm guessing they would have to wait a little bit because, like, the whole, or maybe not, because again, they own Fox Sports and stuff like that. We already talked about that. I could see that day coming where they're just live streaming those shows. I mean, it'd be great for me because then I would just unsubscribe from Peacock, save myself $5 a month because my Disney Plus access that comes from Chris's family. So like I would just be watching that.
Bro, I'm
But
not gonna lie. All this talk has got me really wishing that Warner Bros. Discovery was in the conversation, just because, like, I would fucking love if WWE could be on HBO instead and just be like, oh, every week's a pay-per-view now, but you don't have to actually pay per view. You can just buy, the subscription and watch us every week with a monthly subscription, and you're good to go. That would be goddamn incredible. I would love that.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. I really do think. Okay, so I guess to round out this discussion, because I don't want us to be repetitive, and I am like, I was really excited to actually talk about this, but I don't want us to like get bogged down in it. So I'm just gonna end it by saying this. To me, the most realistic buyer is Comcast for the reasons you've stated. Now that you've kind of laid out your case, I think Comcast is the most realistic buyer. My most feared buyer is obviously Saudi Arabia, and the best case scenario is definitely Disney. After our discussion, do you think Comcast is the most realistic buyer, or do you think Disney should be given more consideration in that
No, yeah,
regard?
I would agree that Comcast is probably the most realistic buyer. I also think that there's a very real chance because something that I saw in the CNBC article is apparently during the bidding war for the Fox, brand and all of its assets and shit, Comcast basically drove the price up by billions. And I could see them trying to do that again with WWE, and then fucking Iger's just like, not again, Comcast. You can have it at that price that you just set for yourself now.
Yeah, yeah. Good fucking luck.
Because, like, at that point, I like, when do we start talking about WWE being a toxic asset with Vince McMahon back at the helm, right?
Well, dude, that's why I kind of wanted to switch. Like, if we are to continue this discussion, I would want to switch vantage points from prospective buyers to, okay, what are we buying? And I feel like Comcast, again, they understand what they're buying. I'm not going to insult Comcast when they already do the Peacock and everything else, but I don't think they're inspired by what they're buying. I
Right.
think they buy it just to know that they have it.
Right.
And that they would just automate processes and just let the money make itself, right?
Yeah.
Disney, why I'm excited and maybe unrealistically excited to be fair, I just have to imagine Disney would want to be so hands-on when they acquired it.
Well, yeah,
They would
right.
want to,
Because
yeah,
Disney, well, and the thing with Disney, I guess the downside with Disney, right, would be that they would be much more likely to want to make it a kids show. Like they would be much less likely to ever allow it to be attitude ever again. So like if that's your thing, if that's what you're into, if you prefer wrestling with an edge, Disney buying the company would be the death of that dream for sure.
yeah,
Which is why I was like, oh, it would be really cool if WB Warner if Warner Bros. Discovery would have a real shot, even if they probably don't. But it would be cool if they did, because then we might get more mature WWE. Because like HBO is kind of known for more mature themes, and it would be really cool if it would air on HBO. And like it's at that point, then it's less about, oh, let's see how many viewers we can get every week, and it's more about, oh, let's see how many people we can actually make pay for our product every week, which then the quality of the product is forced to improve, because if people are paying for it, it's not like your weekly appointment television where people are just kind of idly sitting around with it on in the background. They have to have a reason to actually want to tune in. You know what I mean?
exactly.
But that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. So, yeah, I would say most likely, I would agree, probably Comcast, because again, like if we're talking about these big bidding wars, Disney won the last one, and it wouldn't surprise me if they just, kind of stayed in the race and kind of played chicken a little bit, but just did long enough to drive the price up like Comcast did, and then let Comcast pay an inflated price for the company. And then, yeah, Comcast is just kind of stuck with it, but they already have it on Peacock, so there's not much work to do there. I don't know if they'd want to install new, executive officers or anything, but hey, whatever happens, happens.
God, in my no, again, this is just my imagination running wild. I'm not trying to even like claim that it's grounded at all. But when you're saying kid friendly, I'm imagining the women's rumble becomes like it's still a battle royal, but the winner becomes an officially recognized Disney princess. Like Alexa Bliss wins the first one. I don't know, man. It'd be really weird if they like fully sanitize the product.
See, and part of me is
Um,
like, God, how awesome would it be if Disney bought it, and rather than associating it with like the Disney Channel, they more associated it with like the MCU, and they wanted to go out of their way to really make it like a true like cinematic universe, and like WWE would be like their television equivalent to the MCU, where if you want to go to a movie theater and watch 2 hours or 2.5 hours of an epic story being told, you can do that. Or if you would rather stay home, get spoon and kind of drip fed a long form story, then that would be the WWE option, kind of thing. Like that would be ideal, because then, even then, honestly, at that point, you would almost have to wonder, like, would Disney be open to maybe doing intergender, since we've seen Captain Marvel get headbutted by Thanos. Why can't we have Becky Lynch in there fighting against like fucking Baron Corbin again or something like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, she still needs to give him a receipt for that fucking end of days.
I know. I'm
You know.
saying that's what I'm. Yeah, that's kind of what came to my mind immediately too. But yeah, like so, that's kind of my optimistic side. But my more realistic and my more cynical side is like, oh no, it would just be like Saturday Morning Slam, but for Raw.
And that's a shame that like, because I understand where your cynical side's coming from. Like, I'm not even gonna try and like argue against it. It's a shame though that the MCU side is resigned more to optimism rather than like thinking that they're gonna do it. Because again, I'm Disney, right?
You're
I'm
what?
a fucking phenomenon just with my MCU division alone. Like, I'm making so much fucking bank. If I'm Disney and I'm making this purchase, I'm like, okay, how do we make wrestling really mainstream again beyond
Right.
just making shareholders happy? And yeah, I would want to find like some kind of MCU integration or maybe lift things from MCU and kind of apply it to WWE. Like, I'm with you 100% on that, because one thing I did say to Christy, you know, I can't even say that they're casual fans. They just don't watch the product. But one thing I did say to her is, you know, if Disney would buy it, that would be, you know, WWE's brand of pro wrestling, their best chance of becoming mainstream ever again. I know a lot of people said, you know, ever since the Edge era, all that, you know, you're never going to see an era like that. I think Daniel Bryan showed with the Yes Movement, and Bianca Sasha a little bit also showed that, you know, being mainstream is still possible. Like, it's not like this unfeasible unicorn pipe dream. I just think you need the right platform. I think you need the right support.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, like, I think Disney is that platform. I
Yeah.
think, you know, their people are that support.
Yeah.
I think you go with Disney, you get mainstream. I think if you stick with Comcast, you know, if Comcast would get a bigger share of the pie, it's just business as
It's
usual
just
to me.
more of the
Like if
same,
it
exactly.
exactly, like
At that
if it goes
point,
through the
like,
yeah,
if Comcast buys it, my optimistic side is like Triple H is allowed to stay ahead of creative, and we get to kind of see his vision for the next few, maybe decades, if we're lucky, hopefully.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The more I think about it, the more I just think that Comcast is buying, honestly,
Yeah.
because it's to me, if Vince wants this to go smoothly, because God knows the man already has enough negative press on him, and Twitter has not been happy about seeing his face around. Um, I would just do Comcast because I don't see how that deal gets messy. It's like, okay, you guys already have this. Now you're just gonna get this. So if anything, it's just like an add-on. Where if it's Disney, you've got to rehash a bunch of stuff. I think you got to negotiate some stuff, work through. It's to me, it's a lot of tape.
Yep.
I think about with the Disney deal. Whereas with Comcast, again, it's nice and neat. So I really don't have anything else to say about
Yeah,
this.
dude.
If you
And
have
by the
any
way,
other
I do want
avenues-
to just jab in here. USA Network is owned by NBC Universal, which is Comcast.
Yeah, and that alone is huge because USA and WWE have had a long-standing relationship.
Yeah, that's where
So
Raw is currently airing. That's where NXT is currently airing. So the only real difference is once the Fox deal ends, it would probably just kind of default to SmackDown coming back to USA again. Or
yes,
maybe, I don't know, maybe they'd want to put SmackDown on one of their sort of basic cable channels, like what Fox would be and like what UPN used to be and stuff like that. Maybe they'd want to do that.
yeah, maybe, maybe. Yeah, interesting times are ahead for sure. But again, I think if Comcast does complete the purchase, I would just keep hit the snooze button, go back to sleep because there's really not much more to talk about. But if it's Disney, this may not be the last time we visit this topic on TWitWoW in Review or Saudi
I
Arabia
could
for
see
that matter.
SmackDown airing on NBC. I think there's a world where
I
that
could,
is
yeah.
reasonably could happen.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think that's a leap in
It
the
probably
slightest. I
wouldn't
don't
be
think-
on Friday nights anymore, but it could be on like Thursday nights still.
It do because like SmackDown back on the CW.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see that as a leap at all. I think that's entirely possible. Again, I think Comcast is the most realistic buyer, but the buyers that'll keep the conversation going for better and for worse. Disney for the better, mostly. Saudi Arabia for the worst, just definitely.
And just
So
gonna throw it out there again, Warner Bros. Discovery for the interesting.
yeah, that's man. Dude. If Warner Brothers Discovery makes this purchase, I know it won't happen, but then again, we live in such a fucking clown show these days, like as a society.
Yeah.
I want to see Tony Khan and Vince fight in a parking lot. Like, I just want to see the billionaires duke it out and just destroy each other. Like, because the egos are just too massive there. But yeah, we will see. We will fucking see. So with that, I guess we can get to the more formal aspect of the programming where we talk about each show week to week.
Yes.
God, man, you and I covered Wrestle Kingdom recently. We covered that the 5th. So that
Tuesday.
does
No, it was on the 4th. It was on the 4th. So it would have been Wednesday, actually. It was Wednesday.
Yeah, okay, it would have been later Wednesday after there. That's right. Yeah, so Foster already saying New Year's Dash Wrestle Kingdom. I feel like I've already said enough about Wrestle Kingdom in our live reaction stuff. Although
And
I
your
did want
poll.
to say for the and my poll, that's the one thing I did want to share with the show today. So I did a poll, everyone, for those that weren't aware, because I wanted to gauge the temperature. Now I got a pitiful sample size. I want to stress again, a pitiful sample size. So I would take this with a grain of salt. But I'm like, hey guys, just checking in because I hated Wrestle Kingdom. Anybody else hate Wrestle Kingdom? And I did 4 options. Loved it, stellar show. It was good / decent. Meh, okay, but skippable. Hated it. What the fuck, New Japan? Given that this episode is going to be the only time where this poll is relevant because it's only got 4 days left, results are in. And there was a tie between loved it, stellar show, and meh, okay, but skippable at 23.5% each. The biggest winner was it was good / decent at 47.1%. And I'm apparently in a minority group because I think only one person voted hated it. What the fuck, New Japan at 5.9%.
Yes.
So,
I
yes.
will say I was one of the 4 people who voted meh, okay, but skippable.
Okay. So, I
So
mean,
somebody
I
other than
will,
me hated it on top of you hating it.
but I will say, just to share a little bit of inside baseball with the group, I told Ashton that because I had sat for pretty much the entirety of that show, so I needed to stretch my legs bad. So I worked out. I walked in my room for 50 minutes just to get everything spread out. I ranted about Wrestle Kingdom just to myself, into the void, just because I didn't want to depress the Discord or monopolize. I just wanted to get it all out of my fucking system. For 40 minutes of that runtime. I fucking, oh my God. So, yeah, New Japan, Okada's champion, Yoshihashi's champion. Fuck.
Tamatonga.
I have been getting your Discord messages, Javaris. I know you sent one recently. Let me see what that was again. I know you sent one recently, and I did get it. Oh yeah, okay. So it was about Nakajima Shingo, that he is facing him. That Noah and New Japan are pretty much doing more business. Yeah, cool, I guess. Noah just did not win me over. The N1 was terrible. The worst tournament of tournament season by far. You're right, Foster.
You thought the N1 was worse than the G1.
Ultimately, I was
Yeah,
bored by most of
I
the
kind
N1.
of get it. Yeah, because the G1 had some fun Okada Haas matches again, the Jonah match, the Archer match, that kind of stuff. There was some
Archer, I
good
thought, was
stuff.
great for most of the tournament.
Yeah, there was some good stuff in the G1, and the N1 had very little that we got actually excited about.
Yeah, Foster, you're right that Kairi's champion, and I love Mercedes and I'm rooting for her, but I really can't wait for her to defend the title against AZM because that'll be a fucking match.
Bro, did you hear we were supposed to get Azumi versus Starlight Kid literally tonight, the AM of the 8th, and Starlight Kid is sick and they had to change the fucking match.
God damn it. So who's the opponent now? Do we know?
No, I don't think that they're just gonna do Azumi versus a different challenger. I think that they're changing the card around completely to not include Kid at all and put Azumi somewhere else. And the new main event, or I guess the new semi-main event, is Shuri and Mayu versus Utami and Maika.
Yeah, not to make this about me, but why does this keep happening to me?
Dude, I'm of course it was fucking Kid and not Azumi, because Kid is in the fucking irresponsible faction with all of the bad girls, and Azumi is a fucking angel scholar. I swear to God.
You sound like such a parent right now when another parent comes to you. Did your kid kick my kid is perfect. Maybe look inward and raise your child.
Exactly. That's how I feel, though. That's exactly how I feel. Fucking Kid needs to stop hanging out so much with fucking Tora and Momo and Kashima and go back to hanging out with Mayu, where it's boring and goofy.
Look, man, I agree with you, okay? I've been putting my heart on the table forever, but also watch your tone. But yeah. But no, in all seriousness, yeah, I don't even know if we should talk about it, because I know we've talked about Wrestle Kingdom enough. I did just want to acknowledge that did happen in the purview of this week. Because Congrats, Okada, for the millionth time. Man, that I'm telling you, I don't even know, like, because the baby's been born, right? Like, he's officially a dad, and we keep thinking like, oh, we'll want to take time off, and he's like, no, no, no. See, it's called generational wealth, and I'm not looking to take care of just one generation. I'm aiming to take care of 10 generations. So, yeah, we're just gonna hire a nanny to hold it down. I'm gonna keep main eventing fucking shows. Like, this dude's never gonna stop. He's never gonna stop, and Sonata's never gonna get his main event. I'm just depressed.
This is
Um,
already Okada's. Oh, Okada is already the first ever two-time IWGP World Heavyweight Champion with the new title that's only existed for 2 years.
yeah. Okada's like, oh, you thought I was gonna hand this shit over? Oh no, we
Prior to
haven't
that,
even gotten
though,
stuff yet.
prior to that, he was a five-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion. So this is his seventh world title run in New Japan.
Folks, look, I know that I've had a very chaotic relationship with Okada, mainly because I'm so mentally just destroyed that I have been dying for him to just say openly on a hot mic that he hates competing in front of poor districts. But he is a very talented athlete, and apparently that money must be fucking good that he doesn't want to walk away from it for shit. He's like, no, I'll keep holding this down. Either that, or he fucking idolizes Tanahashi and is following his example to the fucking letter. You do not leave this shit until this shit leaves you, and not a moment sooner. But yeah, there's that. Fucking Kenny Omega. Isn't Kenny Omega now that just or retained or whatever? Because that match with him and Osprey wasn't that for the U.S. title?
Yeah, Osprey went into that match as the United States champion. Kenny won it from him.
That kind of got lost in the sauce for me because of everything else. That yeah, Kenneth
Kenny
is
is the
U.S.
U.S.
champion.
and he's going to be on Dynamite this coming Wednesday. Challenge defending, I believe, the trios titles against Death Triangle because that's the seventh match in their best of seven series.
Yeah. Oh God. So yeah. God, it's just I personally am just in a weird place because I will tell you all, like, no cap, if I ranted about it for 40 minutes to the void, something about Wrestle Kingdom just broke something inside of me. Like, I do not have the same relationship with New Japan anymore, and I think I've just confronted, like, I'm kind of breaking up with you, but not
Yeah.
really, because I know that, like, at a
Yeah.
moment's notice, we could be like, oh, let's do the G1 or whatever. But I'll be
Dude, I
honest,
was
I
even going to
hated
ask
Wrestle.
you if you wanted to cover Battle in the Valley because of the fact that we're getting Mercedes and Kylie on that show.
Let me tell you something. Battle of the Valley, if we were to cover it, we would do exactly what we've done with WWE pay-per-views, and that's very selective coverage.
Right.
Maybe we would only even react to Kyrie Mercedes, to be quite honest with you. Because,
I
like,
have heard that we're supposed to be getting like the bigger names on that show. Like it's not just supposed to be like your typical like New Japan Strong pay-per-view where that's like main evented by like fucking Jay White versus Fred Rosser or some shit. But like I don't know what the exact matches are going to be, so I can't even say. But it's in like just
yeah.
barely over a month. It's February 18th. Like it's not that far away. The problem is the only match that we know about is Kylie and Mercedes, and that's it. But there are names after. Like I've seen both Jay and Okada advertised for the show, and I'm assuming that it won't be a one-on-one match between those two for the world title again. So we'll see.
Foster, I'm curious where you've heard that, because that's news to me, and that made me arch an eyebrow. Foster said apparently New Japan Strong is ending,
I
which,
won't
like,
say good because it's probably better that those guys have jobs than it would be that they don't. But I guess in a sense, it's like for me in my life, I always just get fucking sick of hearing about New Japan has a pay-per-view coming up, but then you see like it's a New Japan Strong card and you're like it's not fucking New Japan. What are you talking about? That's not real.
and, like, shouldn't this be a bigger story in a way, though? Because wasn't New Japan Strong kind of the cornerstone of their U.S. expansion?
Yes.
So, like, if it's
So
ending,
okay, Tavares now
what does that
said
mean?
apparently yeah we actually knew about Jay challenging Hikuleo to a loser leaves New Japan match. But there's also a very recent report that WWE is very interested in Hikuleo. So while we are all like, oh shit, Jay is going to lose that match and go over to Strong, now it just seems like Hikuleo is going to lose that match and go to WWE.
Which, not to cross streams, because I know we'll get to WWE a bit later in the show. In fact, imminently here, because I can't imagine how much longer we want to talk about New Japan. I think Hikuleo is a great get for them. Because again, I have said, and I'll be looking forward to talking about him in a more current context very soon. I still don't get the Dragon Lee signing. I get it for NXT. I totally get it for NXT. I don't know what the fuck you do with that guy on the main roster because like his talents and his gifts, that company historically has never been really interested in, especially the last couple years. Hikuleo, on the other hand, I see so much upside because even if you wanted to stick him with the bloodline as the faction that never ends, cool. But I just think as his own singles guy, he's got presence.
Whose
I think
son
he's
is
solid
he?
in the ring from what I've seen. What was that?
I said, whose son is he?
I don't know.
Is he another one of the sons of Haku? Oh,
You might be right
he
about
is
that.
the nephew and adopted son of Haku.
Okay, that's pretty badass. Um, yeah, I just see Hikuleo as having a lot of upside. And Javaris said, I feel like they got Dragon Lee because AEW got Bandito. Javaris, that's fair, but maybe I'm just alone on this. I still don't think, because I think if WWE got Bandito, it'd be the same thing. Like, I look at Bandito and I see a megastar. I don't think WWE has known how to make a star out of people like Bandito or Dragon Lee for years.
Yeah.
It's like you did Rey Mysterio one time, and they didn't even do Rey Mysterio, to be fair, because he was already like a bigger name when he came to WWE in 2002. Then WWE just kind of exploded that name and made it bigger. I just don't think they've ever been interested in doing that again, Javaris. So, like, I get what you're saying, but my bigger argument is even if it was Bandito, it wouldn't make a difference.
Well, and dude, here's my thing too. I have to question: would they have ever even done Rey Mysterio if Eddie hadn't died and gotten all the press for it?
Yeah, for sure. Because I think Ray was doing bigger stuff in the company, but it still wasn't like main event. Hey, let's give you a world title win at a WrestleMania type stuff.
Yeah.
And he did win the world title 2 more times after that. But the one title reign I feel like was forgettable and ended after a month, and then the other one ended the same night because John Cena fucking beat him for it. Yeah, so it's difficult to say. No, Foster, I didn't say anything about that. If you want to explicate that in chat,
No.
maybe,
He posted that in the Discord already. Basically, because of Carl Anderson signing, or I guess being on a handshake deal, is what it was with New Japan, and then going with WWE anyway. They realized, hey, most of Suzuki-gun is on a handshake deal. They could do this too. We need to end this faction, so they did.
Interesting.
So they ended Suzuki-gun because Carl Anderson is a trifling hoe.
Carl Anderson, I honestly really don't like him, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's like weird, like casual piece of shit that people don't call him out enough.
Yeah, definitely. He just kind of flies under the radar, but we see you, you bald fuck. So yeah, New Japan, very interesting place. Why did we even mention WWE? Oh, Hikuleo. Yeah, Hikuleo I could see doing really well. But yeah, Jay just doing another story. If Strong's ending, I don't know if that means they just reintegrate Jay back into New Japan, which he should have never been unintegrated or disintegrated.
Dude, I swear to God, I'll never understand why they just keep. What's the word? Stalling, I guess. Not really stalling. They just it's like shit or get off the pot. Turn Jay face for fuck's sakes.
Yeah.
God damn it. They pulled this bullshit. I think it was like 2 years ago or something when Jay challenged for the world title and failed, and then they were like, "Oh, he's gonna blame Ishii for his problems and just take everything out on Ishii," rather than having actual fucking character progression. Like, fuck you, Ghetto. Learn how to write instead of just booking, you goddamn schlub.
Imagine something going so long you expose yourself.
Dude, right? Like, where did this shit come from? Fuck.
Dude, your tone, which as always is immaculate, but your tone has just been my mood with New Japan.
I'm just
for the last
so
years.
sick of their shit, man. Like, it's one of those things where like, it's so easy to just like go back and be like, oh man, when you really think about it, they missed out on this opportunity to do this thing. But like, this isn't hindsight analysis. We were saying it in the fucking moment, literally. Jay White loses at Wrestle Kingdom, and we're like, okay, this is where we're gonna get storyline development. Jay's gonna turn into a babyface with it. He's gonna get like we literally at Wrestle Kingdom a couple years ago when he lost. I think I might have literally even said, okay, now he's gonna get excommunicated from the Bullet Club tomorrow, and it's gonna start a face turn for him. And it just never fucking happened. They were just like, no, 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 no. Character progression. What the fuck is that? We're not doing that here ever.
Again, like, because I'll admit that I'm far more emotional in the moment than you are a lot of the time, and you're always good about being grounded. But I knew how disgusted you were when, like, because the best image to me of that Jay White Okada match, like I said, in the moment in live reactions, was when Jay was pulling himself up using Okada, and then he
Oh,
goes to the
post
back, and then
match.
Geto kind of looks at him like, "What happened?" And then Shingo just comes out, and like
Oh my
the
god.
moment Shingo comes out, I'm telling you, like. God, I didn't think we'd talk about New Japan anymore. Again, I only brought it up because it did happen within
Dude,
the
can you
context of
imagine
this
how
week.
much fun a never openweight division would be in New Japan right now? Even if it was literally just fucking Makabe, Ishii, Shingo, and this is why I'm bringing it up because Shingo should be a part of it. Goto, even fucking Evil could be a part of it. Like, you could have a really fun never openweight division. You don't need to have Shibata and Honma in it. And now you've got Noah guys coming over. Hello, Nakajima. Hello, Shiozaki. Welcome to the never openweight division. You guys can even have a turn with the title if you want.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, they all bow before the toughest guy of them all, Tama Tonga.
Oh my
Jesus
fucking
Christ.
god. Who originally, if I remember correctly, bowed to the actual toughest guy of them all, Carl Anderson, before winning it back from him.
Yeah. Oh God. I'll tell y'all again. Something about Wrestle Kingdom broke something inside of me with New Japan, where I'm like, this was it. This was crossing the Rubicon. Like our relationship
Kenta! Kenta could be
will
in the
never.
never openweight division. That would be great too. Fuck.
I feel like he was for a time. Remember, I do
he
think
he
Kenta is
had
a former never openweight
one
champion.
he had one like 4 month run with the title, and then he dropped it to Goto, which like okay, that's fine, but like it's just like it feels like New Japan has. Oh yeah, I literally didn't even mention Suzuki in my never openweight division. Of course he'd be in it too, but like it just feels like New Japan has been on there. Let's find new things to do with this championship bullshit ever since they unified the IC title with the world title. They've just been in fucking shambles ever since they did that. They just don't know what to do with their championships now because they threw one title in the gutter completely. And now they're like, okay, we need something to fill in that void, and they don't know how.
Dude, yes. Because you're pretty much saying what I was going to say in so many words. New Japan has too many fucking titles. Like, I think it's Chiefin when we're having like sessions, like even made me aware, or maybe it was somebody before that. I don't know, but somebody made me aware that New Japan was doing a world television title, and I'm like, don't you already have a U.S. title that you don't even know how to promote? Like, what the fuck is going on over there?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have to see. That's what I don't fucking get. You cut the IC title, which is still the biggest mistake to me that company has ever made.
Well, yeah, I
Because
mean,
that
really
that
merging the IC title with the world title, I think, was step one, and then just having them be unified into one belt was like the final nail in the coffin, you know?
yeah
Because like
yeah
first
because
first we
like
had them both on the same guy, and that's already like bad decision. But then you're like, oh, not only are these two belts on the same guy, but now there aren't two belts anymore. There's one, and it looks worse than the other two combined.
dude, that television title, what the fuck even is that?
Oh, you mean the
Like,
one that looks like the fucking emerald in like fucking Bejeweled?
yeah, god damn it.
Wait, wait,
Oh
wait,
god,
wait, wait. Let
I
me pull it up. Let me pull it up. I gotta pull it up. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Oh
sure.
wait, no, it's not the emerald. Never mind. They don't have it. The emerald in Bejeweled is like rounder. I'm thinking of something else. But there's a game that has like that perfect like rectangular gem shape that it looks exactly like, and I'm like, what is this? Why are you basing this shit off of that? Like, what are you doing, New Japan? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys, something about Wrestle Kingdom, it's like they crossed the threshold. My relationship with them, I don't think will ever be the same again. Because I wanted so desperately for them to turn it around, but I was just so bored, so angry,
Yeah.
so stupefied by the decisions on that show.
It really is going to
I'm
take
like,
AEW with some real heavy hitters being a part of the G1 this year for us to cover the G1 this year. Like if Moxley's
Yeah.
not in it, that might be the make or break. If Moxley's not in the G1 this year, we might just not cover it. Like if Moxley or Danielson, I would say, isn't in the G1 this year, we're probably just not going to cover it. Like I don't care. You can put fucking Eddie Kingston in there. You can put Lance Archer in there. I don't give a fuck. If you don't put Moxley or Danielson, and preferably both in there, I'm not going to give a shit. Because you're not going to have Suzuki
And that's
in
coming
there.
from,
Because Suzuki's
yeah.
done. Suzuki's not in there anymore. I'm convinced. We're never getting another Suzuki G1 again. We're probably never getting another Ishii G1 again. We know Ibushi's not coming back. What is there for me to give a shit about in the G1? Okada going 11-2 and only losing because some rando beats him on the final day to tie him for points, but now they have the head-to-head over him. I don't give a fuck.
Bro, it's funny that you kept that in the confines of G1, but when you listed all those facts, I'm like, why even give a fuck about New Japan? Because they're working Suzuki on a lighter schedule. He's doing the retirement tag matches now. That's always a bad sign.
Oh.
Like, you're just going to trot Suzuki out for special attractions. Moxley and Danielson are so tied up in AEW. I doubt that they're going to do New Japan like in the foreseeable future. Maybe they will, because I know Forbidden Door, they're going to do more of those. So you never know what that'll lead to. But
Yeah.
New Japan, just as a company, as a standalone entity, what is your value? I love Okada. I respect the fuck out of Okada and Tanahashi for that matter. But like, where are your new stars? Because I'll tell you know what made me shit bricks, dudes. If we're really gonna stay on Wrestle Kingdom, we're really gonna have Wrestle Kingdom discussion part 2. What really made me shit bricks was when you were talking about the ages of all of these guys, and then you know what my thought was while you were talking? Oh my god, even with Ashton and I watching casually, what new stars have they created? And the only genuine answer you could be
Okan.
able to give, just based on the feedback that I've been seeing other fans give, mainly Chiefin, because he's the most vocal listener like of our podcast that keeps his finger on the pulse of New Japan, is Ren fucking Narita.
Oh,
Who, I'm sorry, that
I was
doesn't
going
get
to
me
say
out of
Great
bed.
Okan.
Great Okan, and Great Okan's cool, but here's the thing with Great Okan, as it stands right now, I don't really see him as like a big top guy, and I'm entertained by
I
him.
see
That's
him
not
as
even a
more of a
criticism.
top guy than fucking Narita.
I mean that's true. I mean if we're comparing those two, Shota I do like. Shota I'm interested how that'll play out, but yeah, I just
Shota is only 25, so there's still definitely hope there. I'm looking forward to my boy Uemura showing up. When Uemura shows up, if they really want to get behind him at the gate, that might be the thing that gets me a little more interested in New Japan, because that dude has ace energy for real.
for me, bad pro wrestling is a lot like broken trust. Especially if I started loving you, and there was a time like the love I had for New Japan Once Upon a Time is the love that I have now for Stardom. And when you break that, it's so hard to get it back.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
you've really got to show me that you've got a plan, not just
Well,
that you're
dude, I mean,
trotting
we
these
talked
guys out.
about it live on Wrestle Kingdom Live Reactions. There are legitimate stars being made in the Joshi scene who have less experience than people who are still on fucking excursion for New Japan.
Yeah,
Like, bro, we always talk about how amazing Suzu Suzuki is and how she's this incredible prodigy. Suzu Suzuki's only been wrestling since 2018. She's not
yeah,
like she doesn't have a fuck ton of experience. I'm sure there are people out there who would still call her green, even if I might disagree with that. Suzu has about as much of experience as Utami, who is again a fucking star. Sayakami Tani, we literally watched Sayakami Kamitani's debut match in August of 2019. She's been wrestling for 3 years and a few months, and that's it. And meanwhile, if a New Japan Young Lion was only wrestling for 3 years and a few months, they'd still be in the fucking black trunks using Boston Crabs as their finishers. Are you shitting me?
yeah, yeah. It's I don't know what's going on over there, but when you were breaking down those ages and just the state of New Japan, I'm like,
I mean,
man,
dude, realistically, the last real star that the Young Lion process has created was Jay fucking White.
yeah. And look how like I'd still say that's going well for them on the whole, but like, have they forgotten what they have in
Well,
him?
but
Jesus
dude, I mean, it's
Christ.
going well for them on the whole, but he started there in 2015.
Yeah. Oh man. Jesus Christ.
So the fact that they haven't managed to create any new stars for themselves since 2015, bro, I feel like Tam Nakano has been wrestling since 2016.
Yeah.
Momo Watanabe has like a similar amount of wrestling experience to Jay White, and she's already like peaked and valleyed, whereas Jay is still in the middle of his first peak.
Yeah.
You know,
God damn,
like,
man.
that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, Jesus Christ, Julia is the star, like the ace, arguably, of Stardom right now. She's only been wrestling since like 2017, I want to say.
Yeah, I just when I look at that problem as a whole, I'll tell it to you guys right now. I think there's a very strong chance we don't do G1 this year.
I mean, do
I
you
mean, we might,
remember
but
Big Man Kitamura, who just tragically died recently?
I do, unfortunately, yeah.
Dude, he was looking like he was going to be a big star. He debuted in 2017. That's that long ago.
Jesus Christ.
We're that far. And even Narita, who you just mentioned being like and Umino, both those guys are 2017 debuts. They're closing in on 6 years in the business already.
Damn.
And even though like they're back and they're doing stuff now, they still feel like relative nobodies in New Japan.
Yeah,
They feel like they're on
yeah,
like
they do.
Lady C level. Like, okay, they're good and they're entertaining, and like maybe they get put in some cool spots, but they're not winning any major stuff.
Yeah, they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything like sizable. They're not really making waves on the whole.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's dim. It's fucking grim. I'm rhyming, but I'm not thinking about rhyming. But yeah, like, it's brutal, man. Like, what happened to the era of like late 90s, early 2000s where they created Tanahashi, Shibata, Nakamura, Goto, Devitt, Wait, Naito's on here twice? Did I say Naito already?
um,
No, I didn't. I
I
didn't.
didn't think
Naito's
you.
on here. Taichi, for fuck's sakes. Okada was '07. Okada was '07.
God damn, dude, it's so fucked. Yeah, yeah. I I'm just saying, guys. I look at it as a very strong chance we don't cover G1 this year, and I'm just getting way ahead of it because I know it took a lot of people by surprise 2 years ago when we noped out of it. Nah, like again, I something about Wrestle Kingdom, and I'm just speaking solely for myself on this one, broke me,
Well, dude, I'm
broke
glad
me because
Foster said their
yeah,
debuts don't feel impactful, talented, or not, because that makes me think of Master Wato. Master Wato has been back in New Japan, like prime, like actual New Japan, like touring in Japan with the main roster, doing the real shit, not strong, none of that bullshit, in the real company. He's been back with them for 2.5 years now. He came back in like mid to late 2020. And like, obviously the packaging is terrible, but they're the ones that gave him that. But this dude is so good. This dude is legitimately a talented wrestler. He's fun as hell. He's great. He brings like a fun lucha type element. He still has never held the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship.
he was so close to Wrestle Kingdom, and like I
Multiple
even felt
times.
like yeah, multiple times,
And
and
like
I felt a
it
surge of
obviously
excitement.
feels
And then
like they're building up like this whole like, oh, the journey, like, oh man, they're building up to where it's gonna be this big deal and they want you to have like this big explosion pop when he finally does win the junior title. But they're dragging it out so much that I have stopped caring now.
well, yeah, because like here's my thing, and this is more a general point, not even New Japan specific. Not everybody needs to go on the journey. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes you can just let it happen.
Dude,
Like
since Wato has been back in New Japan, would you like to hear who all has held the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship?
oh
Ishimori has had 2 runs with it combined for over a year.
wow,
Hiromu has now had a second run with it. His first run was a little bit short. It was only about a month and a half. And then he got hurt. He had a pec injury, not a tear, but a pec injury. And now he got it back, obviously. He just got it. Despy held it for about 5 months. Robbie fucking Eagles held it for 3.5 months. Then Despy won it again. So Despy then held it for close to 6 months. So Desperado and Ishimori have combined for holding it for basically 2 years of the 2.5 years that Watto has been back. And you're telling me that with those two very blatantly villainous characters being your main champions, that Watto couldn't have been the one to beat either one of them? It had to be some fucked up combination of Robbie Eagles, each other, and now Hiramu again for his fifth run with the title?
Oh god. Oh god. Oh, that's so frustrating, dude. What the fuck? Like, it just feels like New Japan has their set guys,
Yeah.
and they're just letting the hamster wheel spin
Dude,
until
that's
they're forced to
that's
make a
that's
decision.
why it's so like soul crushing though, because that's the fucking same problem everywhere. Every
Yes.
fucking wrestling company does this. It was the first time we really noticed it was with WWE, because it was like, oh, Vince has his chosen ones, and they're the ones that are going to get all of the main events and all the titles and all the wins, and they're all going to be clean wins, and anyone that's ever going to beat them, it's going to be some kind of scuffed win, or a dirty win, or it's going to have some kind of blemish on it or whatever. And of course it's Roman and it's Cena and it's Orton and whatever the fuck. But like Tony Khan is the same fucking way with his favorites. And then the problem with Tony Khan is that his quote unquote favorites, it's less about like an individual two or three guys, although that applies to Sammy G, Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, MJF, fuck all the way off with that garbage. But now we're finding out, oh yeah, Ghetto has this exact same problem too, because it's Okada and it's fucking Hiramu, who we love, but it's still, he doesn't need it this much. It was Kushida for the longest time. Like, I hate that we keep seeing this exact same pattern relapsing in pro wrestling. Let new people get fucking opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so disheartening. And, the cynic in me, just because I've been so beat down by pro wrestling as a whole, because, you do make that point, is just how long until we notice that with stardom, and then how long until it bothers us.
I
And
mean,
it's
the thing
just,
is, with Stardom, there
God.
are obviously going to be some favorites like Mayu, Utami, Shuri, Julia now, Tam to a lesser degree. But the thing is, though, like, I think what I love the most about Stardom is that because we kind of follow them so closely and we watch every show, and because they have sort of a very cyclical year, and because the 5 star always has upsets in it, it's like right at that time that we might start to feel a little bit like, okay, it's started kind of get a little repetitive here. The 5 star hits and it's like, oh man, now all of a sudden Azami's pinning Shuri with flipping pile drivers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think that the Stardom formula works for us, or at least it works for me, as far as like how my brain chemistry, gets reset and stuff. But I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe there will be a time that the sort of the yearly cycle for Stardom will start to just take a little too long to reset, and we'll start to get sick of it a little sooner and a little sooner, and next thing you know, we'll start to be like, okay, maybe we'll only cover the 5 star this year, and maybe Dream Queendom, kind of like what we started out with New Japan, where we were just doing the G1 and Wrestle Kingdom, and maybe eventually then, because we won't be paying as close attention, we'll notice the little things that we don't like more, and it'll eventually lead to us just wanting to drop Stardom too, like it did with New Japan. Hopefully by then something new will have come around that we like, and we won't just be done altogether.
We'll just keep feeding on that dopamine. But I will say with
Dopamining,
stardom,
baby, dopamining.
exactly. I will say with stardom though, where I am an optimist is like when Mina came to stardom, I never like when she started, I'm saying, I really want to stress that part. I never would have ventured that she would be a Wonder Stardom champion. But now, with how she's been built up and with how she's progressed, it's like, oh my God, what an unexpected and beautiful surprise. And I feel like Stardom's really good about giving us those surprises and managing them well. So, in the meantime, I'm infatuated with Stardom. I'm riding that dragon to the very fucking end, regardless of how long
Exactly,
it
and that's
goes.
kind of my thing
Yeah.
too. Like it's like with Lucha Underground. The more you hear people talk about like, oh, this company's doing this poorly, or oh, this is bad, or oh, this is going to lead to something bad, the more like self-doubt starts to creep in, and I'm trying to avoid that because I want to keep enjoying Stardom for as long as possible, because like you said, I'm trying to chase that dragon. I'm trying to enjoy for as long as I possibly can.
Absolutely, because after Wrestle Kingdom, and this will be where I put the pin in this, I bring it full circle. After Wrestle Kingdom, I'm never getting back to that place in New Japan again. And if I do, it's going to take a very concerted effort on New Japan's part.
Yeah.
I'm talking Danielson and Moxley in the G1. I'm talking Uemura and Shota Umino doing things that are worth their time and
Yota
their talent. I'm not
Tsuji.
saying give them the world title run. Yeah, and yeah. Just all the young lions really that you know have a good look and give something to the company, doing something worthwhile. Um, yeah, I'm just it's going to take a real concerted effort on their part
And
because
also, I
as it
will say,
stands right,
wrestling does tend to be cyclical, so maybe there will be a time that WWE is really hot that we'll want to start watching that again. Maybe AEW will come back
it
around at
seems
some
like they're
point.
they're upon that. It seems like they're upon that with Royal Rumble coming up because I'm telling you, like just this bloodline story alone,
Yeah.
I am dialed in.
Yeah.
Like they did great stuff last night, which we'll get to. So I guess putting a pin in New Japan, which just to say that as it stands right now, I don't want to do G1 this year, and I don't even want to do Wrestle Kingdom next year after how bad that was. But we'll have to see what New Japan does. They've got a whole year. Well, they've got till the summer for G1, and they've got a whole year for Wrestle Kingdom. So get to fucking work. Now, with WWE and all that other stuff, we've got fucking Monday Night Raw.
Oh God, I just figured you would go through all the bloodline stuff that happened this week because that covers I feel like 60% of what we cared about on WWE programming this week.
That is, I mean, with Bloodline, they tore up stuff on Raw because they're still like causing chaos and stuff. Then I feel like that led to I want to say a 6-man tag like Sammy and the Usos against Kevin, and I want to say the Street Profits.
Yeah.
Um, Bloodline won. Sammy got the winning pin, I believe, on Montez. Javaris is coming, and Raw sucked ass. Uh, to me, more than the Bloodline, because Bloodline stuff was great, but just to keep it confined to Raw for now, and then we'll get to SmackDown where Bloodline stuff really had nice progress. Um, I really hope Seth Rollins isn't fucking injured, or at least injured severely. I actually saw a highlight video of the match with Theory. I'll give credit seemingly to both guys, mainly Seth because I like Seth more, and I will readily admit to my bias. Seemed like a really good fucking match, but yeah, Seth might have fucked up the same knee. I know there was a big story on Discord on Monday. Obviously, I got overshadowed by Damar Hamlin, who I think is okay. He even thanked everybody for the well wishes, so thank goodness for that. So NFL had a big night Monday as well, is my point. But yeah, Seth seems to be re-injured, and I'll tell you, depending on the severity of it, that really fucking sucks for WrestleMania season because I feel like Seth was going to do something big at Mania season, and now we don't know. Have you heard anything new about Seth's condition, man?
I have not heard anything. I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday night. I looked up Seth Rollins' injury on Google, and all I could find was a bunch of speculation pieces like Seth Rollins injured on Raw, Seth Rollins seriously injured, Seth Rollins to miss time, and it was all just bullshit. Like, oh, Seth Rollins appeared to have injured the same knee. Like, no, fuck you. Don't tell me what he appeared to do. Tell me what he fucking did, you garbage ass dirt sheet.
Keep giving tone to everyone. I'm feeding off of
They
it.
deserve it, man. They deserve it.
Sir, we believe this happened. No, fuck you. Come back to me with the facts.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, exactly. See, you do get it.
I love it. I love it here. What a shithole. All right.
You really just said that.
I will say,
really
look,
said that. Wow.
I'm gonna take my lumps right now. And if anybody has my back, I'm hoping it's Foster, but I'm thinking even he's gonna abandon me based on what he said. Dominic Mysterio is officially my guilty pleasure in pro wrestling.
No.
I like it.
No.
I like how bad it is.
You
I
can
can't lie
have
anymore.
your guilty pleasure, John, and no one should shame you for that. But, dude, he's so fucking bad. You're never gonna get me on board.
No, you're 100% right. No. I need you to understand. We're on the same side with this because I'm not even gonna front. I'm not gonna do my shit. We're like, oh come on, Ashton, he's good. Or like, no, he sucks ass. But he sucks ass in such an entertaining way to me. It's like you can, because here's the thing. It's like that episode of The Simpsons where Bart really tries studying for that test and he still fails. He's
so
trying.
this is a shot in front
And
of thing. That's
funny.
why.
Almost. I think like he's trying, and I still like I see maybe a cinder of something there, but the dude just can't get the spark going to save his life. I don't know what the fuck it is. Maybe he's just not meant for this business. But like, man, oh God, just the jail promo. like he really. prison changes a man. Bitch, I don't even think you were in there 24 hours. And like, again, though, even with bad performers, I feel like WWE sometimes misses opportunities. Cause like, why wouldn't you do a cinematic of Dom in jail and like you show how much of a weakling he is, and then when the Judgment Day rolls up, he suddenly puffs his chest out because he's got the numbers. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like WWE introduces interesting ideas like, oh, Ray called the cops on Dominic. Maybe you'd even do a jail visit between Ray and Dominic, where you do the whole phone thing through the glass. You don't do that. You didn't do the fucking documentary with Sammy. It's like, I don't know, even with the bad stuff, I feel more inspired sometimes than WWE does, and they're the ones that made it. You know what I mean? It's frustrating. But yeah, Jamar's like, bitch, I doubt he was in there anyhow. But no, he's trying to act all hard, like, oh yeah, jail changes, man. Like, dude, when were you my father? What? Like, simmer the fuck down, dude. Ew. Um, yeah, it's fucking wild. And you know what, Foster? I appreciate the no judgment because he said his guilty pleasure is Von Wagner, which, like you, I get your guilty pleasure. There was a time I thought, oh, Von Wagner could be promising. But yeah, Dominic Mysterio is bad. But like, I will say this, since he still wants the stuff with Ray, I'm 100% convinced he's eliminating Ray in the Royal Rumble. There's got to be a development between them in the Rumble because I still think this match is going to happen at Mania. I just don't know how you get there from like A to Z.
I'm telling you, I genuinely believe that Ray. No, let me change that. I genuinely believe that Oscar does not want to wrestle his son at all. Period.
Son, I'll have you arrested, but I'm not going to perform a wrist lock on you. Get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
so, yeah, there was that.
I wouldn't even be surprised if one of them was eliminated in the Rumble before the other one even got to enter it. No interaction at all.
You know what? You're probably right, man. But, we all have our speculations, so this is just my speculation. Ray's going to be eliminated by Dominic. We will see. We will see.
I would love it if Rhea Ripley was in the men's Rumble and eliminated Ray.
Dude, that'd be hilarious.
If we could get a one-on-one match at WrestleMania, if Oscar doesn't want to wrestle his son, but would be willing to have an intergender match, and we could get a one-on-one match at WrestleMania between Rey Mysterio and Rhea Ripley, that would be fucking legendary. I would love that.
Unironically, one of the best matches on that fucking card.
Yes.
Because, like, the way it's looking, y'all, just between speculation and what's actually happening, it's Nepo Mania. It's Nepo. It's not WrestleMania. It's fucking Nepo Mania. And I'm grossed the fuck out. Somebody even mentioned, speaking of Nepo Mania, the idea that, like, the match graphic, and I know I'm really jumping ahead here, but the match graphic for Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens, because that was confirmed for SmackDown, had, like, this electricity and stuff in the background, and that's usually, like, The Rock's calling card kind of thing. So they're like, oh, Rock's 1,000% showing up in Rumble. Now, do I think that's a fucking reach? Yes. But do I understand why the reach is being made? Also, yes. Yeah. And, like, I'm so scared, dude. I am so scared, whether it's Cody or The Rock. And I'm like, Sammy is right. Dude, especially after Friday. Especially after Friday with Roman asking him, do you want to be the tribal chief? Do you want to be me? Well, what does it mean to be Roman Reigns? It means being the world fucking champion. Like, your Rumble winner is right fucking there. Roman is already paranoid about Sammy. I remember you were the one that said this no more than like 2-3 weeks ago. We were talking about like Sammy winning the Rumble, and then because I think it was an idea that you got from Javaris that Javaris got from somebody else, and Roman just gets all paranoid about it. Seeds have already been planted, as far as I'm concerned, this past Friday, and like it's right there. And I swear to God, if I hear to end Royal Rumble, fucking, there's more than one royal family or however the fuck that theme opens, I will hurt someone. It's not gonna be pretty. Oh God, Nepo Mania can suck my ass. But anyway. So yeah, Seth Rollins potentially injured. We don't really know much. Dominic Mysterio is a hardened man after going to prison. Anything else on Raw? Oh yeah, Alexa Bliss and Bianca. I did want to talk about that. Disqualification. Aren't you so happy Alexa Bliss is getting pushed again? I guess that silence answers that question.
Yeah, dude, literally nothing that I could have said would have done a better answer justice than just not saying anything there. Because
I know you're committed, so like if I didn't put it together, it was just gonna linger. So thankfully, I didn't fumble the ball. Yeah, man. God. Again, much like Sammy, Rhea's the obvious option, and now I'm starting to worry Alexa might get the belt back. Not too worried, but still worried. Oh God. So, I guess just continuing with Bloodline, since we're talking about like interesting things and not product by product, SmackDown was fucking amazing, at least on that front,
Was it?
because Roman again goes off on Sammy. He's like, I don't lose. I
Dude,
never lose. It's not in my DNA.
I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
I hated that segment just because of Kevin's involvement. Like, I really hate that they're even rubbing shoulders between Kevin and Sammy again, because Kevin was like telling Sammy like, you can talk to me when you take your balls out of Roman's purse or whatever the fuck it was. I'm like, I don't want this. No, please, no.
Bro, what is it with everybody lately, especially baby faces that should be better on the mic doing the low hanging fruit? Between like Danielson with the MJF, everybody slept with your mom, and now Kevin Owens is doing a balls joke. Come on, guys. Come on. You're you. You're some of the best mic workers in the fucking industry. Do better. Jesus Christ. Oddly, that was the perfect reaction, by the way. Um, Oddly enough, the best mic worker in that whole exchange was Roman. Roman didn't have to emasculate anybody. Roman just has to be a paranoid, insecure man that like puffs his chest out more than anybody because he's the tribal chief, and like it works. Dude. And honestly, we need to talk about this because I'm actually gonna cross streams here because I know we always talk about
Oh
things we
boy.
watch outside of out of like the the regular programming in the week. I watched the build up of like Triple H Batista WrestleMania 21. And low key, one of the best parts of that was Ric Flair's facial expressions in the background. It's the exact same thing in this storyline, except Paul Heyman. I love watching how Paul Heyman reacts to these people just fucking with each other. Like, he's just looking, and every time Roman raises his voice, Heyman just cowers. It's like, oh God, no, oh please. It's amazing. I love this storyline. Like honestly, y'all, this Bloodline storyline because the Bray storyline is already kind of losing steam with me just because I could see where they're going with Alexa.
Dude, I had the exact same hopes that Foster had. Foster and Chad just said I wanted Roman to stay mad at Sammy, but then the Usos lose the tag belts, so Roman's anger gets shifted to them instead. Who the fuck is going to beat the Usos for the tag belts if not Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, two basically main event motherfuckers who have already been tag team champions in your developmental system before? How the fuck do they not win the tag titles last night? That pissed me off. I'm like, are you kidding me? How? Why? Who? When? Where?
Bro, bro, when the Usos retained, I'm like, you've got two storyline options, and I know which one I prefer based on who is doing it, but again, that's very contingent. You either have the Bloodline lose everything in one night, that being WrestleMania, or you just have them reaffirm their dominance at WrestleMania. Now, if they lose their championships to Sammy and I guess Street Profits would be cool for Usos. I don't know which other tag team I'd prefer. Either them or maybe Brawling Brutes, but I'm not really fucking with oh god, with Rich Holland. With Rich Holland. I'm not really still fucking with him yet. But those two teams I'd probably be the most okay with, and Sammy obviously for the world title. But like if you have fucking Cody and what's a tag team we hate that we just wouldn't vibe with? Maybe fucking Braun Strowman and Ricochet since they're friends right now. I could see that
Yeah.
maybe being a team if Braun's unsuccessful in his Gunther bid for the IC
Yeah.
title. Like God, I would hate that. I would hate that. So I feel like Bloodline's gonna lose everything at Mania. So like as much as I love KO and as much as I'm psyched for their fucking Rumble match, I know Kevin's not winning. I'm just happy that Paul Heyman won't fuck up the finish time, hopefully. Uh, so yeah, they're probably losing everything at WrestleMania. But the tag match did seem entertaining. It just sucks though that Drew keeps getting screwed over out of cool moments. Like the dude returns last
Dude,
week.
I know. I feel like so many awesome Drew McIntyre coronations have been sacrificed at the altar of Roman again.
Yeah, and dude, Foster Foster said, so in really recent news, Tama Tonga's contract is coming up in WWE. Wouldn't it be amazing if Roman just kept retaining the title via new bloodline members until it's just like give anybody a shirt?
I
It's
don't
like,
think that could happen at Rumble because, from what I understand, New Japan contracts typically expire on the last day of January. So it would be the 31st, and obviously the Royal Rumble's on, I think, the 30th. or
Yeah.
maybe the 28th or something like that.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, as hilarious as it would be, I don't think that's actually an option.
Yeah, dude, I'll tell you what though, WrestleMania, if it's Roman Cody, Cody hits like a third crossroads, he's crawling over to the cover. There was a ref bump, bam, Tamatonga with the gun stun. Roman gets the pin and retains again.
Dude, if it was against Cody, I would pop so hard. Holy shit.
And then WrestleMania ends with the newest member of the bloodline, We the Ones! Because it's the title reign that never ends. Oh
I would
god,
100% pop if that happened.
if it was Cody, yes. If it was Sammy, I would make anime noises and maybe walk out of the room. I would tell you that I was walking out of the room because I never want to fully leave you alone, but I'd have to walk out of the room and just breathe and just be like,
if it would, bro. Can you imagine if it was Sammy and they did a workers' rights angle where Sammy unionized the fucking bloodline against Roman?
dude, Roman and Paul's faces throughout that whole storyline would win just my promo of the year. That the facial tics of the tribal chief would get my promo of the year because he would just be so over this bullshit. He'd be like, Jay, do not make me abuse you again. Get the fuck over here. Oh my god.
Holy shit.
See that, but you know what though? I'm glad we're having this discussion though, bro, because I'm loving the bloodline storyline. That's obvious. And I know you and I have like heaped a lot of praise on it, especially Sammy and Roman, their interactions. Because I have to give Roman his credit too. Even though the reign's been going on really fucking long, obviously, he's still been very entertaining.
Yes.
I don't think Roman's been out of pocket once, even when the title reign has dipped, just because people get burnt out. But I think this discussion, even when it's gotten a bit on the sillier side, mainly because I am just so fucking delirious being overloaded with wrestling, because I saw your tweet to Kid Coheed, and I'm like, yeah, that's relatable, because I feel like we're overloaded with wrestling, but that doesn't solve my quality problem, save for Stardom. This storyline is on a house of cards. Because if you give it to the wrong guy, and for you and me personally, Cody is the wrong guy. I know there would be people that'd be happy for him, and that's valid. For you and I, Cody's the wrong guy. So to us, well, I shouldn't say for you in this part, but for me, it would pretty much invalidate all the ingenuity of this entire storyline. Because it's like, oh, it was about like funneling it to Cody, who I don't care about getting a payoff. So this was all worthless, and I wasted my time. Yeah, it's definitely a very precarious storyline if they can't handle the payoff. But yeah, Usos retain the tag titles. Drew gets screwed again. I still want to see Sheamus and Gunther run it back at Mania and Sheamus officially become a Grand Slam champion winning the IC. I think he's earned it. I've enjoyed Sheamus's work this year, and I'd say like the last 2 years, maybe 3 years. I think he's been good. I think he's been consistent. Seems like a great guy. I mean, hell, keeps his fucking nose clean, keeps it out of controversies. Seems like a model guy. Give it to him, and then you move Gunther up to the heavyweight division. Because that's the thing. When Roman drops the title, Gunther should be your next monster heel to go after that world championship when Roman like fails his rematch bid and has to be relegated. Because I can't
Roman
wait
relegated. That's right. That's funny. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that is fine. I am hilarious. I've been known to have a humorous yarn every now and again. But no.
That was a 3.5 knee slapper.
Oh God, I'm over. Yeah, Gunther in the main event. I am excited for it. Should be good.
Yeah, totes my goats.
God, and then there's AEW, and I already kind of talked about in the Discord the MJF fucking Danielson promo, and I hated it. So that's off to a great start. That's great. I like to laugh that way too when my life is falling apart. Yeah, man. God, do I hate pro wrestling right now except for Stardom?
I know I do.
Yeah. I haven't asked this all show, but I think this is forcing me to check in. Are you okay?
You know, be okay? I wish that I could snap back with, of course, but I really couldn't tell you right now, bud. I really don't even know.
Like, because no, you know what? Normally, no, we have to have a sidebar about this, because normally this would be the part where we gaslight ourselves and be like, well, it's probably just us, we are getting old, but fuck that. Am I a boomer? Probably. I noticed a gray hair recently. But do I still know good
Wait a minute,
wrestling from
wait a
bad
minute, wait a
wrestling?
minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You only just noticed your first gray hair recently?
I think so. Possibly.
Jesus fucking
Possibly.
Christ, you're a child.
Oh my god. But no, no. Do I still know good wrestling from bad wrestling? Maybe possibly. I just admitted Dominic's a guilty pleasure, so I might be losing it on that front. But damn it, nobody sticks me in the
You at
corner.
least admitted that you knew he was bad. That counts.
That's true. That's true. Um, like God, what the fuck is going on with pro wrestling? Kick out the Predators, sign some cool fucking people, know how to use them. I'm actually low key curious about Freddie Prinze Jr.'s promotion because I keep hearing that's happening. He shit on NXT recently, and Foster's latest message in chat made me think about that. He's like, "Ain't nobody watching that shit." And I wish I could defend NXT, but I'm one of those people that quote ain't watching that shit. So Freddie, you right. Like I don't know what else to say to you, man. I mean, fuck. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening, and I feel like the more I'm mired in this, and by the way, it doesn't help that wrestling fans on social media, and you know the ones I'm talking about, the really fucking plugged in ones, the ones that are hyper obsessive and give Alexa Bliss cameos just to ask her if they'll marry her and or go out with them. Um, yeah, they're also awful. I feel like I've been in this ecosystem so long, and Stardom's the only payoff, and that's a big fucking payoff. But I can't expect Stardom to carry the whole fucking load. God, I need Sammy to win the Rumble so bad. I need Sammy to win the Rumble so bad. But when Cody wins, I'm gonna cackle. I'm gonna deliberately turn off noise canceling because I know my laughs and my squeeze don't come through anymore because I've got noise canceling software. I'm gonna disable it in that moment so you can all hear me cackle and my sanity break because everybody needs to hear it. But yeah,
Remember when Bandito had that awesome ROH World Title match with Chris Jericho and then got signed relatively soon after that?
yeah, I
How
remember.
long ago would you say that was, if you had to guess?
5 months ago?
It was like 3 months ago.
Okay, yeah.
Would
I
you like
figured I
to
was a
know
bit
what
off.
he's done on AEW television since then?
Nothing.
He beat Roosh, then lost
Oh,
to
okay. So
Ethan Page, and that's it.
oh, so what you're saying is not nothing, but nothing would have been preferable. That's
Maybe.
that hurts. That hurts.
Oh, also, I should probably, kind of use this opportunity to say Bandito hasn't been on AEW TV since November 16th.
I'm just because I can't think too much about reality, otherwise I will definitely break. So I have to shift gears here and just ask Javaris how you're leveraging that net worth, because I'm pretty sure this shouldn't be fucking happening. So what the fuck is going on over there? Um, yeah, that's what I mean, man. That's why I'm worried for Dragon Lee too, because like Dragon Lee is phenomenal, phenomenal, and I respect Foster and everybody else that's plugged in NXT and likes it. Hell, I used NXT for my own purposes to get my underrated wrestler of the year in Duke Hudson, who I still think is a hell of a fucking prospect. But like, it's not black and gold NXT. And like, if it was black and gold NXT with that roster, I'd be excited for Dragon Lee because I'd be like, oh man, Dragon Lee's gonna blow it the fuck up. He's probably gonna debut against like Adam Cole or some shit, some big thing, maybe even for the North American title, and it's gonna be, amazing. No, like the biggest match Dragon Lee has on the horizon right now is Carmelo Hayes, and that's not nothing. But where do you go after that? And then yeah, with Bandito and AEW, that's a mega star. And Tony's just like, but Action Andretti though. I don't hate pro wrestling because I love Stardom. But if I wasn't doing Stardom with Ashton, if we didn't even know Stardom, and this was just all we were doing, I would be convinced at this point in time. Except, you know what? To be fair, Kevin Owens and the Bloodline are still making me respond positively. But I would still think like, do I hate? I would actively ask like, do I hate pro wrestling? Because I'm just seeing the moves being made and the decision being made. And I'm just like, God, Why? God, fuck. How Bandito
I
isn't a
can
bigger deal right
hear
now,
the
I don't know.
pain in your voice, and I wish that I could be like, it's okay, John, it'll get better, but all I can do is just relate harder.
Yeah, dude, like, because I know, I'm self aware enough to know we've been doing this podcast for years. I know that I can have very strong emotional responses and definitely cross over into the hyperbolic. I'm self aware. I'm working on it, but I'm
I'd
self
rather cross
aware.
over into the hyperbaric at this point.
Yeah, yeah, put me in a hyperbaric chamber so I can fucking heal.
Exactly my
Um,
point.
yeah, like, I know that this isn't an overreaction this time because, again, as Ashton said earlier in our New Japan discussion, it just seems to be all wrestling companies have this status quo that you just do not mess with. You make the most imperceptible changes, and then that's it. And that's, I think, another reason why the WWE sale is important because depending on who they sell to, it's either going to be more of the same. We hit the jackpot and it gets better because it's just an overhaul, not just with a new paint job, but a new everything job. Or it gets even worse, which I don't even want to think about what worse than this is, but I have
Brock comes
ideas.
back and beats Roman for the title. I think I just heard your first ever pain squee.
I'm not okay, but I'm going to put a brave face on and continue.
I am so
So,
sorry.
it's I love you. It's not your fault. Rock went like again, we have to cover wrestling and like that's the purpose of this channel. We ain't about to become like a current event because then God knows it'll never fucking end. And that's even worse. And we'll just speed run depression in that case. We're a wrestling channel. It's hard to be a wrestling channel though. Most wrestling is like, come on, do something. And just no.
Poking it with a
Just no.
stick.
Best I can do you is a Rock title win. So yeah, I mentioned AEW. That's right. And MJF and Danielson's promo sucked. Um, because they felt like doing mom jokes. Oh, Daniel, your mom bred with a goat. Oh, Maxwell, this whole arena has been with your mom. You ever just want to die? Like, fucking hell.
Bro, oh my god, I can't believe you said something so true.
And dude, if you weren't hard enough, we're gonna get 60 minutes of MJF at Revolution.
Bro, I don't want 60 minutes of MJF over the course of a month of television.
Baby. Oh, yeah, and then like, God, it's so bad and so self-serving because like, how did AEW make Danielson? Okay, maybe that's hyperbolic on my part. Let me step back. I didn't mean it. I'm in my feelings. I was about to ask how AEW made Danielson worse,
God,
but
is this a weekend review or a fucking therapy session? What has wrestling done to us?
I don't know, man. But like, am I wrong? Has AEW made Danielson worse? Because I feel like
No,
in WWE he
the
never could have
AEW
promoted.
hasn't made Danielson worse. They just haven't figured out what to do with him.
But how?
And dude, ask fucking Tony Khan's scrub ass.
Put on your glasses, you piece of shit. God damn it. Uh God. Yeah, 60-minute Iron Man match. Danielson, but for that to happen, and see, this is another thing I hate, right? Because then they say, oh, well, Danielson's got to be undefeated going through February 8th.
In order to get that 60-minute stipulation.
And like, here's my thing, dude. Can we talk about this too? Because it's not just AEW that does this. I feel like if you're gonna do stips like that, back it the fuck up and have a backup plan. Because I'll tell you, it'd be quite a swerve if like Danielson didn't do it because maybe MJF screwed him out of his last match, and then just hypothetically in an alternate universe where I get what I want, MJF has to defend the title against fucking oh god, what's his name now in AEW? Aleister Black. What's his name now
Malachi.
again? Malachi Black, right. It'd be fucking Malachi Black at Revolution. because they had him in the back pocket
That would
because he
require
won.
Tony Khan actually deciding to do something with Malachi Black, though. We all know that's not going to happen anytime soon.
You know what? No, no. You know what? I'm disabling noise canceling for this because I really need people to feel my full power for this. I fucking hate billionaires.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay. Okay. Turn it back on. There we go. Nobody's gonna die today. It's all fine. Fuck Tony Khan. Fuck on uninspired. Because wrestling companies do this. Oh, to get this, you have to do this. Now, sometimes they'll do it and they'll follow through because it's part of, say, a bigger road to Mania. Like, I know they did that with Kofi, right, in the gauntlet matches. But the thing is, that was fucking great. That made me want to see Kofi win the title even more. So even in that case, it wasn't bad, even though I knew Kofi was going to get his Mania shot. You still at least teased it. You were still like, oh, maybe we should look at other options because, Kofi's just not going to happen. Here, though, you're not doing it at a big pay-per-view. It's not an underdog babyface type of struggle. You're just lazy. And it's just the thing with MJF, oh, I make everybody jump through hoops. Well, maybe one of these days your trials will actually succeed and you won't be outed as a fucking schmuck. Christ.
Nah.
I know. God, but why am I wrong? I didn't do it. This is one time. Look, I always have this running joke that because I'm a piece of shit on here, I've said some really dark shit. Oh, I only 75% deserve this. Oh, I only 88% deserve this, as if the 25 or 12% respectively really fucking matters. But in this case, no, I did 0% wrong here. 0% wrong. I did not deserve this at all. Do better, for fuck's sake. Like, it would be interesting if you made Danielson work harder for his title shot, because it should be a more personal story. MJF in kayfabe hit Regal in the back of the head where he's had brain bleeds in the past and he's had serious health issues. Danielson has already said Regal might as well be a surrogate fucking father to him. Why blow the title shot? Why not just build Danielson until he gets this rage? Because MJF keeps fucking with his life personally and professionally. Oh, sorry, bud. You didn't go undefeated because so and so beat you because MJF did something. And then Revolution is somebody else. And then it's somebody else. And and then you build it up maybe to the next big AEW pay-per-view. And then, MJF could still go over knowing AEW, but ideally you'd have Danielson win the title. But it's just, he's going to go undefeated. You know it's going to happen. So why should I care? I feel like Lucha Underground sometimes would have stories and you'd think they'd go one way and they would be subverted. And then it would be like, oh, cool. So then what's going to happen with this person? And, I wish more companies would do that. Just everything feels so obvious. I guess that's one thing I could say about WWE. It doesn't feel obvious that Sammy's winning the Rumble, not by a fucking long shot. And in a way, that's kind of exhilarating. In another way, it's fucking horrifying. But at least I'm feeling something. With AEW with this world title storyline, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So who do you got Danielson facing? Is it at least going to be good matches? Or is it going to be like fucking Preston Vance or some shit, or just some nobody that I know Danielson's going to run through? God, I hate it so much, dude.
I love that you brought up Preston Vance.
I don't even know if I should hate on the guy because I've heard good things about the dude, but he's lower card is my point.
No,
so
dude, you should hate on the dude because really, you should hate on Tony Khan for pushing the dude, because the dude is a fucking vanilla midget. I mean, he's not small, but he's a fucking generic white dude. He's just a fucking generic white muscle guy. That's all he fucking is. He's got no personality. He's a solid wrestler, but so is fucking everyone, for fuck's sakes. Tony fucking loves pushing generic white guys, and I'm goddamn sick of pretending it's not true.
Listen, sir, we serve Wonder Bread here. Either get with it or get with it,
Clearly. Fucking clearly. Thank you.
God. I don't even know what else happened on this fucking show because that promo was the only thing I watched. Did anything happen on AEW? Oh,
my first match of the year candidate happened on Dynamite. Yeah, AR Fox versus Swerve Strickland. It was fucking excellent, and it's too short.
Oh, please.
It was a great match, but it was still too damn short.
So tell me, because I did not see this match. If there's anything I need to give time on AEW to, it's everything that AR Fox has done since signing with the company. I need to go back and just binge everything. But, I'm guessing Swerve was super heelish. Did he need help to win with Parker Boudreaux being with AEW?
Help from fucking Grandin, whatever the fuck his name is, and Boudreaux. They were both. I think they both got involved. There were a grand total of 2, I think, interferences. I don't think either interference really contributed to the finish though, and Swerve did end up getting the win with the Swerve Stomp. But You know how there was that huge spot on the 1-1 Noah show where fucking I think it was Shiozaki, or no, not Shiozaki, where Keno did like the, was it a Falcon Arrow, I want to say, onto the apron?
Yeah, yeah.
Was it a Falcon Arrow?
Yes, it was. It was a Super Falcon Arrow, yes.
Yeah, fucking Swerve did that to AR Fox with a Death Valley driver onto the apron.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. He did the DVD and then rolled him into the ring for the Swerve Stomp for the win.
Yeah, I unfortunately missed that match. I should go back and watch it though, because AR Fox and Swerve, obviously, if anybody knows their Lucha Underground lore, are magic together. Those are two guys as well that, and especially now. And I'm actually going to hand you this segue because I need to go collect the phones because I'm expecting that call soon.
Yeah.
Darby Allin's the new TNT champion. So I'm going to let you talk about that and how fucking AR Fox and Swerve should be contending for those fucking titles now that they've got a champion that, I feel like anybody should be able to beat. So there you fucking go. So yeah, Darby beats Samoa Joe. What are your thoughts on that? I'm going to be AFK to collect these phones. I'll be a few moments.
I really hope that he doesn't take too long because I don't have that much to say about this. I think that Darby Allin is a fucking joke. I think that anything associated with him immediately feels Bush League, and that the only thing that cancels that out is Sting's presence, because Sting feels like a big deal. But as soon as Darby Allin gets involved with anything, it immediately just feels Bush League. It feels like a joke. It feels like something not to be taken seriously because he is such a fucking edgy little try-hard child that it's just impossible to take him or anything that he is involved with seriously. And now they put the fucking TNT title on him, and why? Because they were in his hometown, or at least his home state. And Tony Khan, again, like we've talked about, just fucking loves to pander to hometown audiences unlike anything we've ever seen in wrestling. I swear to fucking God. It is one of, and I have to say one of because it's just such a bad product all around, in my opinion, one of the worst aspects of AEW as a product is the way that they go out of their way to pander to hometowns. Darby also apparently just defended the AEW or the TNT title against Mike Bennett on Rampage. That'll put asses in seats. Am I right? Who gives a fuck? I don't care about Darby as champion, and therefore I don't care about the TNT title anymore. Samoa Joe, at least I was interested in him fighting, hoss fights, like him against Wardlow, him against Hobbs, him against Keith Lee, him against Archer, him against Brian Cage. Could have been interesting. But now it's fucking Darby, and you're telling me that I'm going to just have to sit around and wait for this shitty little Jeff Hardy ripoff wannabe try-hard edgelord to drop the title before I can care about the TNT title again? I just don't want to talk about it, honestly. It's trash.
Damn. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. Darby winning, I've never cared for Darby. I think he's a little piece of shit. I don't really like or respect him at all, quite frankly. And I think the only good thing is with a guy like Darby who is positioned as a babyface, that does give a guy like Swerve, now that his tag team with Keith Lee has dissolved, a chance to get in that division and win the TNT championship. The best thing you could do is a Darby Swerve program with Swerve going over. 100%.
Dude, if they would do Darby Swerve, I know this wouldn't happen because it's AEW, because it's Tony Khan, because Tony just fucking loves Darby for no explicable reason. A good wrestling promoter would have that be a squash match in favor of Swerve.
Yeah.
Swerve would beat Darby's ass in about 3 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly have to agree with you there. I definitely think so. Darby is just he's the quintessential spot guy, just like, I'm gonna throw my body off these objects, I'm gonna put it through deliberate harm and this and that, to do more harm to my opponent, but there's really no coherence, there's no strategy, there's no finesse, there's no anything. Whereas Swerve, we've said, like, I think he's one of the best workers, like, in the ring, in pro wrestling right now, because of the uniqueness of how he moves. And by the way, you can give Fox some more credit. I've seen the gifs of some of the moves that he does and how impeccable he makes them look. And I'm like, these guys are in a league of their own. Like, you want to give a best of series to anybody, give it to these two fucking guys over a
Dude, we
vacant
actually
TNT
said
championship.
that on the Discord Wednesday night. I think I was in a call with, uh, I think it was Curtis and Javaris, and I forget. I think DBK might have showed up late or something, but it might have just been the three of us for most of the night. But we even said, like, let's seriously, if you're going to do a best of seven series, why can't it be this? These guys are like a fight forever pair.
Oh my god, yeah. And they should do it exactly how you said these series should be done, where you don't announce it formally, it happens organically. And it's like, oh, these guys have been trading a
Yeah,
lot of wins
there should
back and
just be
forth, you know?
another match between these guys on like next week's Rampage, where maybe AR Fox sneaks out the win, and that pisses Swerve off, and we get a beatdown. And then Tony's like, okay, you guys want to keep fighting best of seven series starting now, since we just ended one, we're going to start a new one now, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Um, Okay, so I'm actually saving the sheet of stuff, Javaris. I know you're salivating for us to talk about the women's division stuff. I'm saving that because I still haven't gotten it. I'm expecting a phone call. Me leaving temporarily was just to gather the phone so that I don't miss the phone call. But I figured we could talk about that when my phone rang because I know Ash could probably talk about that longer than Darby Allen because who the fuck wants to talk about Darby Allen? Um, in the meantime, was this Dynamite where Caster did the fucking Karen Jarrett rap or Jeff Jarrett rap that
I
like
think
had
he's
Karen
done
Jarrett all in a
multiple
tune screen?
Karen Jarrett raps, but this was a pretty spicy rap from what I remember.
I unfortunately didn't hear it. If anybody has the lyrics on standby, I'd love to know exactly what he said because man, she took it hard and she put Kurt Angle on blast. And I low key feel bad for Kurt Angle. I'm like, man, I've been minding my business. I've been doing whatever. I
What the
thought we
fuck
were
did Kurt
amicable
Angle
now.
do?
Well, apparently she like outed him as like, oh, well, that's the reason I went with Jeff Jarrett because Kurt cheated first. And now apparently it's speculated that Kurt was with like Kelly and Dawn Marie and like
Oh,
his
Jesus
last year in the company or
Christ.
whatever. Yeah. And like, don't
There
get me
was a
wrong, I'm
reference
not.
to Dixie Carter in the rap this week. I know that.
Oh wow. Um, but yeah, like I'm not saying Kurt was in the right if that is true, but the thing is, so many years past, if I'm Kurt, I'm thinking, oh, I thought our relationship, rehabilitated because we were both just unhappy and I was falling apart because of my opiate addiction and stuff like that. And then because a guy goes into business for himself and does a rap, you're gonna put me on blast. How is that fucking help? Like I just think the whole thing's a fucking mess. So I'd be curious to know what exactly the rap fucking was that started all this because Max Caster be like, I'm getting paid. Um, but and and that says a lot about Tony Khan too. He likes to posture. Well, yeah, well, Javaris, there might be a delay because we did explain in the chat why that is. So I guess give it a few seconds. Um, but yeah, no, I had the same reaction as you though, Javaris, until like yeah, I just pieced it all together. But this is another thing about Tony Khan because apparently when the media scrum happened with Punk, like he had to go to MJF and Max Caster and apparently say, guys, please don't do this because apparently they were gonna use that as fodder for their promos. If you've got to beg one of your talents to not go off, maybe they're not worth it. I don't know. I like Max Caster. I like the Acclaimed. I haven't cared for the whole scissor me daddy ass bullcrap, but pretty fucking telling that that Max Caster again is like being a menace, waking up and choosing violence. But I still hate that Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal are a thing on AEW TV in fucking 2022. I like Jay Lethal and Sanjay. I already forget the name of their heavy. Who was the guy they were running around with?
Satnam Singh.
Satnam Singh, that's right. I liked him too. He was growing. I'm like, this is a solid trio. It's whatever. But now you got Jeff Jarrett, and I'm like, man, why should I give a fuck about this, man? What the fuck? So yeah, I'm not really into it, but Karen Jarrett apparently just did not like Max Caster's rap. So that's unfortunate. Is this going to lead to anything? Like, are like Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal pursuing the tag titles? Did they get a shot at the tag titles
Dude,
and lose?
Jay
So it's
Lethal
over
and
now.
Jeff Jarrett won the tag titles on Wednesday, but it was a false finish, and like Aubrey Edwards restarted the match, and the Acclaimed retained.
Oh god, we're doing this shit still too.
Yup.
Fuck. Okay. Okay. I've really got nothing to say about that. Um, TK seems more interested in keeping Casper and MJF in check rather than the legit horrible people in his company. That is fair, Foster, because Sammy Guevara is still running around, not getting disciplined. So that's That's
I
a
mean, why
thing.
would we discipline Sammy Guevara when we can discipline the people that Sammy Guevara has pissed off over the years instead?
That's so true. God, you should have been a billionaire. You get it. Uh,
Dude, I would do so much good if I got money.
I know. That's why the good people never do get money because the system also knows. Um,
Oh.
God, I what a depressing TWitWoW review. Um, yeah, I guess that company should have called me by now, but they did also say 10:15 was an option. So I guess if we have that kind of time, I don't want to put it off any longer. Is there anything else you want to say about the women? Because I know Javaris has wanted us to talk about the whole Sheeta thing. I guess we could talk about where this is going to lead. Does Sheeta turn heel? Is Soraya
I
turning
mean,
heel?
so have you
Does it
actually
matter?
seen the segment yet?
I did, because I did watch it and I had a similar reaction to you. I was laughing my ass off at Sheeta's reaction.
So, okay, yes, Sheeta's reaction was hilarious, but let's be real. Soraya gave heel vibes in that segment. Let's not pretend she didn't.
Here's the thing. I agree, but like for me it goes deeper than that because she's been snubbing the Joshi since she fucking got here. Like, because even in
Yeah.
her first promo when she was crediting like Tony and whatever for holding down the division,
That's
it's
kind
like
of her theme though. She's been really going out of her way to try and get Tony over specifically, and of course Tony was the option here, and that's who she went with.
yeah,
Because in her initial promo, when she was like kind of in the middle of the ring with the women's division, Tony was like the one that she really went out of her way to praise the most.
yeah. And then it's like, oh, I'm sitting next to the best wrestler in the world, so Tony, you'll be my partner.
Yeah.
And then she just like
Well, and
she even
plus, like,
tweeted like,
she even
what the
talked
F?
about how like we have the best matches in the world. Like, fresh off the heels of Wrestle Kingdom, it felt too meta to not be intentionally heelish.
Yeah, yeah. But I know you and I kind of speculated on this, either in a separate commentary and a Discord convo, because everybody's like, Mercedes is in AEW, no, she isn't. What's going on there, kind of thing. I wondered if Tony was a smokescreen, if it would be one of those things where like the match happens late enough in the show that you could have a segment where Tony's taken out backstage or some shit, and then Soraya's got to find a new partner, and then it's like, oh, look who I bumped into, and then it's Mercedes.
Dude,
Or if they're just gonna go ahead.
fucking imagine if they had Saraya team with a woman who people originally blamed for ending her career.
Yeah, it's
Jesus
like, look at us making
Christ.
nice. Yeah,
I mean, meanwhile, if Mercedes is going to show up in AEW at all, which I highly doubt, I genuinely don't think it's going to happen. I don't think she's going anywhere near AEW. But if it's going to happen, and if she's going to be involved somehow in this women's tag match, I would almost rather she just be Hikaru Shida's partner in a surprise third tag team getting entered into that match than have, Shida beat up Tony and then Mercedes take Tony's place.
yeah, yeah.
Really, what
Um,
I really want to happen is I really want for Shida to be told by Tony Khan, like in like a backstage segment, or maybe just announced by the commentators that, hey, Hikaru Shida, asked Tony Khan to be added to the match with a partner of her choosing, and he is like, sure, fine, you can have it. And so we have a new mystery partner, and it's not Mercedes, it's fucking Yuka Sakazaki with her bully gimmick from TJPW.
that'd be amazing. Oh
Because
my
because
god.
Yuka is apparently going to be overseas over the course of the next month or two.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that's
See,
got
that
my
gets
hopes
me out
up.
of bed.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. If Yuka could stick around, that'd be great. Especially even if it was just a long enough reign that we could get, a little bit of work with Shida, a little bit of work with Soraya. Maybe we get a women's title match between Yuka and Jamie. That would be fucking amazing. I would love that.
Absolutely, man. I I just want fucking Sheeta to beat ass,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Like, because here's the thing: if Tony's all like, "Oh, heels and faces," why does any of that matter? Whatever. Well, it's like, yeah, well then let Sheeta fucking take out the trash with Soraya, because Soraya, that was so disrespectful. Like, I'm 100% on Sheeta's side with this, and it doesn't hurt that I've been a fan of
Well,
Sheeta for a while now, ever since I saw her stuff in Japan and kind of her like turning up the attitude lately. I'm like, okay, I'm vibing with this. So
think
yeah,
as sort of like talent blind as Tony Khan might be, I don't think that he's tone deaf necessarily. So I think he knows, and I think that Soraya and Tony and Sheeta know that segment made Soraya look heelish. Because, like, you even just said that was rude. They knew that too. I don't think that they did that unintentionally. I don't think that they did that in a way to be like, oh, what do you mean? She just has her favorites. She's not trying to be rude. No, like, they fucking know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would agree there. Even for as cynical as I am about just pro wrestling in general right now,
Yeah.
you can't be that tone deaf as to not see the optics on this.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm definitely inclined to agree with you. It's just at the same time though, it's so fucking funny that you're turning Soraya heel now when Britt Baker in a return match tried to go into business for herself to be the baby face.
Well, and
But
part of me
obviously
almost
Soraya should have been here.
thinks that because Jamie is becoming such a big star, that we might end up with Jamie breaking away as a babyface, and then Soraya joins forces with Britt.
Oh my god, I don't even know how I'd feel about that latter half because Jamie's star growing, I'm obviously here for. Like that goes without saying, but God, the road to get there is gonna have some interesting bumps then if that's the case. Um, yeah, I really have nothing else to say about it. We're just gonna have to see next week. Next week it'll be more of a talking point because the mystery partner will be revealed.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if there are any other worthwhile stories this week. Then, is
Just
there anything that I
strictly
missed?
sticking with Dynamite, I kind of agree. Honestly, I think we're good to go. We've pretty much talked about everything WWE related that we wanted to. Are there any other subjects in this week of the world of wrestling that you wanted to talk about, brother?
No, because I know we're going to be doing Triangle Derby coverage on Monday, so we might talk about that like the Saturday after if we want, if we have anything more to say about like the start of
Yeah.
the tournament.
Yeah.
But I know Stardom is still interesting me. We even talked about New Japan at the start of the show and the sale, so I feel like we talked about everything big there. Um, so yeah, I think we're good. So I guess the follow up question: did you watch any extracurricular stuff this week?
Well, you know what? I mean, we both kind of did. We both watched that TJPW show that was really fun.
Yeah, I had a great time with that. I'm TJPW is really turning a corner with me. I enjoyed the main event, not as much as I would have liked, because I do feel like Miyu Yamashita got hurt. She even tweeted something about it. So obviously, performer health comes first.
Yeah,
I'm
she
just glad
did. It
Yamashita's
was
okay.
confirmed pretty much right after the show that she had a mild concussion.
Yeah, that's no surprise.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I'm sorry, Foster. I know you're right. I know you're right, and you were being sincere, but just something about the way you said that.
It's not even wrong though. Dude, I've said this so many times, but I just have to keep doubling, tripling, quadrupling, pentupling, sextupling down on it. Ashanti the Adonis is a fucking star in the making. I fucking love that dude. He is so good. He has got such a great look. He is so charismatic and so fucking athletic. I feel like he is like, you know how for years, and this is going back a decade at this point, I've been saying Kenny King is Shelton Benjamin with a personality.
Yeah,
Ashanti the Adonis could be that for WWE, maybe even better, because like he's younger by like a lot.
yeah, yeah. Dude's got a lot of upside for sure. I think Hit Row is better as a heel group. I'd like them to rap more. I don't know how long they've if they've gotten back to their rapping stuff. Because again, that would be on me if so, because I'm checked out of the product. But from what I'm seeing, they're not even doing their rapping segments that they used to do. I'd like a cipher every week until a babyface team interrupts them. Of course,
Bro,
that also makes me wary because rap is a big part of like black culture, and I feel like the babyface quote unquote that would interrupt them would like want country music instead or some shit because it's WWE and it's like a redneck base.
I
But
want
we'll figure out the
Ashanti.
optics later.
I want Ashanti the Adonis to get a Damian Sandow gimmick.
Interesting.
Because like you just look up
Interesting.
Ashanti the Adonis, and the first picture you see of him, he has like dreads, really short dreads, and glasses on,
Interesting.
and he's like holding his chin, like he's looking like he's like a philosopher kind of thing. I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? We can do something with that. I want him to get a smarter than thou gimmick. I want him to do like, but not like the same way as Sandow. I don't want it to be the same thing as Sandow because obviously, we can't just repeat gimmicks. I want him to get like a philosophical gimmick that's like almost similar to like Darius from Atlanta.
That would be interesting. Because it's not. Now, what I'm about to mention here isn't exactly what you said. And I want to just let you know and everybody know that I do recognize that. But that's why I was interested in Xavier Woods when he was first like bringing
The
Biggie and
Malcolm
Kofi
X
together
shit.
before they became the New Day.
Yeah.
And he had that whole Malcolm X aesthetic. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, like let's fucking do it. And I love that idea. I love that idea. I didn't know honestly when you started speaking because I didn't know what parallel you were gonna like make. So honestly, I thought you were gonna say philosophical in the sense that like Jaden Smith is a philosophical, right? And they were gonna like spoof it, and you want to do a spoofy type thing. But I love your idea so much more. Yeah, I like that. I like that. We might have to wait a little bit because obviously with Hit Row, that's just very tonally opposite. I feel like, but yeah, Ashanti's definitely the star of that group. I don't know what the hell happened to Top Dollar between the first go around and this go around, whether he just got exposed or what, but has not been working for the dude. And I'm still laughing at Foster's message, even though Foster told the truth. It's just hero turned heel because everyone fully talked. I can't even
Oh,
sorry. I'm so
Jesus.
sorry. I'm
Jesus,
so
dude.
sorry. I'm so sorry. It's just wow. What a reason to turn heel. Jesus fucking Christ. Um yeah. Yeah. So that happened. I'm sorry, man, because I blacked out because Foster reminded us of all that. What did you say? Oh yeah, no, we were talking about the TJPW show. That's right. Um, you know, a TJPW show was good when I enjoyed the Hyper Misao match too. I had fun with that one. Normally, I don't care for Hyper Misao's matches, but I actually enjoyed that one. Um, Mizuki is number one contender. I think is really cool. I think her and Yuka are gonna tear the fucking house down,
Yeah.
dude. I'm really excited for that fucking match. Um, Maki Ito continues to be amazing. Yeah, that's really all I got to say about it. Is there any other like extracurricular stuff that you watch just on your own?
Um, trying to think if I watched anything else. I don't think I did. No, I'm just gonna say no because I don't want to him and Hall.
I did, but not really much talking about. I watched more TH 14 videos of like storylines. Obviously, actually it wasn't even TH 14 that did the Batista Triple H build up, but somebody did like a four-parter of the whole Triple H Batista feud. And man, I gotta give WWE credit. Like they built Batista up impeccably because you could hear him get louder and louder pops each week. They wanted him to turn face, and when he did, what a cathartic moment for that arena. So great story, great job on both sides. What was another kind of promo or story I saw? Oh yeah, Brock Lesnar Big Show. That was one TH14 video I watched. Man, they made Big Show really seem menacing all those years. That was like 2 decades ago, over 2 decades at this point. Um, that was a crazy build up. Did I watch any other build up videos? I watched a little bit of Randy Orton's face run, which I'll say I think is underrated. I know even Randy Orton hated that run back in '04. I didn't think he was so bad. I feel like in an alternate timeline, he would have been WWE's Okada. Because, God, he was an amazing athlete in his younger years. I mean, still is occasionally, has those bursts of athleticism. But, like, man, that cockiness, that build, like everything was just so good. I watched some build between him and The Undertaker at WrestleMania 21, which WrestleMania 21 had a lot of really well built feuds, man. That was a good WrestleMania that year. Oh, I'm getting my call, so I'm going to hand it over to you. I guess if you want to open up Q&A or something.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes things interesting. Um, John was just talking about Randy Orton shit, so I'm not really gonna pick back up on that. But if you guys wanted to talk about anything that we haven't talked about yet, feel free to fill us in, to give us questions, and we'll take some of those. We'll field some of those. In the meantime, I guess I don't really have too much to say. Who do we think will take Roman's spot as the top heel when he's beaten? I don't think anyone's going to take his spot as the top heel because I think he's just going to stay the top heel. I think Roman is just going to be the top heel for a while, honestly. If anyone takes that spot at this point, it looks like it's going to be Gunther, like John mentioned earlier. Um, Alex Foster wants to know who my guilty pleasure is in wrestling. God, that's a tough one. Guilty pleasure. I mean, I would say Maybe, I mean, does Maki Ito really count as a guilty pleasure? I don't know if I really have any guilty pleasures in wrestling, honestly. It's a tough one for me. Guilty pleasure is just a difficult thing for me to come up with because if I don't enjoy something, I just tend not to stick with it.
Okay, so that got all fouled up and they hung up on me accidentally or whatever, so I don't even know if they're gonna call me back. So I'm probably just gonna call them when we get off the air, which means Ashton, as far as you and I go, I'll probably be AFK for a bit. But that just gives me a chance to formally finish this commentary with you. So yeah, we could still do Q&A, because even the extra stuff I watched, there really wasn't much to talk about. So yeah, did you already answer Foster's question about your guilty pleasure in wrestling?
Basically, I gave a non-answer because I don't really know if I have any.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now that I'm back in the mix, if anybody has any questions for me and Ash both, or just me, or whatever about this week in the world of wrestling, or just wrestling related stuff, since I know our more formal Q and A's are now quarterly, our next Q and A is March 30th. So, Patreon donors can ask up to 15 questions. It's pretty fucking insane. Non-Patreon donors, just 10 questions. So keep that in mind. So I'll wait for questions to come in. Yeah, that's really annoying. I figured something would happen. Things are never easy with this company. Oh God.
I mean, if you want to
But yeah,
answer
Mark.
Caster Sales' question, he said, realistically, who do you think will take Roman's top spot as the top heel when he's beaten?
Realistically, I mean, Gunther's looking like the best candidate right now. He's a foreign heel and he's dominant. I think he checks every box just to get the kind of heel heat that WWE likes. So I'm gonna stick with Gunther, honestly. I don't see why not. I don't see why that isn't, on the table. So, and then Mark did say he loved Orton's face run. Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad, Mark. I know they were like, oh, the crowd turned on him. I never really heard a crowd turn on him except for Rumble, because Rumble, admittedly, when he did have the match Triple H, that crowd was obviously very pro Triple H. But yeah, I feel like if they would have done the Batista build with Orton, it would have worked.
Yeah.
The problem was Orton was always a sicko fan in Evolution, whereas with Batista it was more believable because he was never really an overt ass kisser the way that Randy Orton was.
Yeah.
So they just kind of fucked it up from the get go. Um, so
It
yeah,
seems
still
like we're
waiting for.
not getting any more questions in, so I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll just do. Orton also got a concussion in the match. I thought that was just storyline, Mark. But regardless, if we're not getting any more questions, let's just get into high spots, low shots. So
Oh, here
yeah.
we go. Are there any women outside of the Fed you'd like to see compete in a Mae Young Classic?
Hmm. I mean, God, if I knew that it wasn't going to be like a poaching, predatory type relationship, God, I'd love to see Stardom getting on that WWE platform exposure. Can you imagine like Azumi in a Mae Young Classic or some shit, or Starlight Kid because she's got that whole luchador vibe?
Yeah.
That'd be fucking great for all
Yeah, that's
parties.
that's kind of my
But
thing too. Is like I would love to see more Joshis get that platform, but WWE doesn't fucking know how to use Joshis, so that makes me not want to see that happen again. It's
exactly.
like the reason that I'm not rooting for women that I really like to be in the Mae Young Classic is because I've seen what women that I really like being in the Mae Young Classic looks like already, and it wasn't good. It didn't turn out very well for them.
Exactly. Exactly. So for me, it's like kind of nothing there. Any other questions from anybody here? Would you like it if Eddie Kingston joined forces with Malachi Black? Personally, no. I don't really see the attraction of it. To me, Eddie Kingston is a thorough babyface because he's so relatable.
Dude, I
Because
don't
he's
get
the
that feud either. Like, why, when you have guys that people just naturally are drawn to and like and want to cheer for, why do you have to have them go against each other?
I don't know. The AEW going AEW. Because I don't think it's a good mix at all. I like both guys. I think both guys should be in the main event picture. Instead, they're fighting each other probably for a TNT title opportunity. Um, and yeah, it's a waste of time. So no, I don't want to see Eddie Kingston join versus Malachi Black because I think Eddie Kingston is dialed into every fucking crowd he performs in front of just the way he is, and why tamper with a good thing? Um, would Okada be the worst person to play Monopoly? Oh, come on, Foster. Of course he would be, because he'd beat me every time, and he would use the same game pieces. Uh, Oh, I'm getting the call again. Hold on, I'm gonna try this again.
Well, we did know that this was going to happen, everyone. So hopefully it just doesn't take too long and goes smoothly this time. That's the big thing. Hope it goes smoothly this time. Javaris, I don't think that you even specifically want Keith Lee to be AEW champion. I think you just want Keith Lee to be world champion in a wrestling company with a big platform. At this point, I feel like his best case scenario is IWGP World Champion. I feel like if Keith would go to New Japan, they might actually treat him better than AEW has, because he's like this big lovable guy. I mean, fuck, if Bob Sapp can be IWGP World Champion, why the hell can't Keith Lee, right?
Okay, I hate everything. I am so confused and I'm just so done with everything. Do we have any other actual questions? Um, okay, we're talking about Keith Lee.
Did that go
Yeah,
well?
Javar. No, dude, it was the crazy thing because they called me back, as you know, right? But then I answer and it's like, oh, you're calling outside of customer service center hours. Please call tomorrow. But it's like you called me. So I didn't even connect with anybody.
Jesus Christ.
The, I, I'm in a really dark place, people. I feel like the less I say, the better for both me and my legal team. So I'm just gonna keep it fucking curt right now because I have some very strong opinions that I know aren't safe to share for myself or my loved ones, and I actually do care about people, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah. Javaris, I feel your pain, man, but like. We've already said what needs to be said about that. We know Keith Lee's talented. We know Keith Lee's good. The only one that doesn't know it is the guy that matters most. And
Two
yeah,
two
that
companies
just
in a row.
two companies in a row.
Christ.
So I don't know what else. Like, it's not to be dismissive of your feelings, but like we've been through that, and like we all know Keith deserves so much better. And it's like I'm done lacerating myself on that fucking wound. Because until they get it together, it's just nothing's gonna change. And I would love if Keith Lee would get poached by New Japan, but then again, New Japan with the state that they're in, eh, at the very least, I could say that Keith would probably be an ever openweight champion. So
Yeah, dude, would you like to know what Yuka Sakazaki was doing the last time she was in AEW?
what's that?
Literally, her last match in AEW was a tag team match against Heather Reckless and Laney Luck on AEW Dark Elevation, teaming with Hikaru Shida.
Okay. So yeah. Hmm.
There we fucking
I
go.
I don't.
Hot damn.
Yeah. Yeah. Goddamn. Um. Just let me in a room with Tony Khan's. Keith Lee might end up losing to Alistair. Yeah. I mean, Foster's not even wrong. Foster's not even fucking wrong. Any other questions, guys? Because we just got high spots, low shots after this, and then we can get out of here.
Yeah.
And I can bash my head in my desk and contemplate my life.
Tavares, just lock me in a room with Tony Khan at this point. Bro, same. I'm not
Oh,
even
we all
trying
wanna
to throw hands. I'm just trying to throw words, please.
Yeah, and it's like I'll throw my opinions.
Yeah.
That will do all the work.
I'll be the good cop to Javaris' bad cop. I'll be sitting there having a reasonable conversation with Tony while Javaris is steaming in the corner, cracking his knuckles, getting ready to call in Suzuki to help him out.
Yeah, listen, Tony. You can either look at the graph or look at these hands. You don't get both.
Look at the chart, damn it. Look at the chart.
Yeah. Sheeta is over. Hater is over. Keep running. Keep pushing these two. Oh,
Britt is
God.
only over to the degree that you push her. These other women are over, and you haven't even pushed them yet. Imagine how much more over they could be if you actually pushed them. Fuck.
Inversely proportional, directly proportional. Do you know the fucking difference? Okay, I'm gonna guess that there are no more questions since we asked that a while ago. So high spots, low shots. Low shot is my life because I used to love wrestling and I barely do
You're
anymore.
not allowed to do that.
Who's
What's your
your
real low shot? Come on now.
Okay, my real low shot, Jay White.
Oh, yeah.
It happened this week. It counts.
Yeah, not only did he lose his opportunity, but he He didn't even get character progression. Jesus fucking Christ.
You
Okay.
got cooked in the Tokyo Dome and Madison Square Garden by the same fucking dude. Like, get your life together.
Did you just say he got
Seriously.
cucked?
He got cooked.
Oh,
I didn't actually
cooked.
say cooked that time. You
Cooked.
got
Okay,
cooked
yeah.
in the Tokyo Dome
Yeah.
and fucking Madison Square Garden by the same fucking dude in the usual Ferrari. Get your shit together.
In the usual Ferrari.
He's so much richer than the both of us combined. I'm gonna die poor.
Oh man. My low shot. Let's see. Um, can I make the television championship my low shot? AEW's television championship?
I'll allow it.
Because it went from Samoa Joe to Darby Allin, all because they did a show in Washington.
Yo.
Pretty fucking brutal, if you ask me.
High spot is also me because I'm about to see Mizuki get mentally abused and lose a friendship that she cared about. Because we know that Schadenfreude is my primary language. But genuine high spot, I would have to say. Let me think about this. You know what? Genuine high spot, Sami Zayn, because he continues to kill it. He did win a match on Raw this week, and on SmackDown he was still the focal point, and Roman Reigns actually apologized to him. So
Wow.
great fucking week for Sammy. Sammy's gonna
Yeah.
be my high spot.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. I think my high spot's actually going to be Kenneth Omegeth.
Oh God, you said Omega.
Kenny Omega won the U.S. title, and he gets to bring it home to AEW, where he gets to show it off in front of all his friends during the Best of 7 series finale this coming Wednesday. And he actually managed to avoid the disaster of a Dynamite that was this week that ended up getting a pretty fucking low rating. So he can be like, he can come back next week and then claim to be the ratings savior, the ratings god, the new demo god.
Ray. I don't know. I'm spiraling. So
Should
I guess
choose to
that
not do that.
no. So with, with that said, I really thought about it too. That's what makes it worse. So with that said, guys, this has been TWitWoW in review.
Oh,
The best
yeah.
wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans on the web today. I'm John. That's my co-word commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to like the videos you file out. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the best search result for wrestling recaps on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like. Click the bell icon and subscribe so you don't miss any of that TwitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Twitter and Twitch because we are the best wrestling podcast in all the IWC. And for all of you Stardom lovers out there, we will see you Monday for the first installment of the Triangle Derby.
Dude,
We're
we
live right
have
into that.
so much stardom this coming week. I can't fucking wait to get back on that wagon, baby.
Oh yeah, rev up those fryers, cause fucking Stardom's coming. Is that Monday at 5? Because I know the schedule hasn't been updated yet.
Probably.
Yeah, Monday at 5. Then, you know what? I'm just
Hey,
gonna
do you
keep
know
it
what,
there
dude?
because I don't have the
Let's
schedule.
call it Monday at 4, because it is a little bit of a longer show. Remember, it was a pay-per-view.
All right, I'll have to get to bed at 6 a.m. rather than my usual 8 a.m. these days. All right, so yeah. 4 p.m. for Triangle Derby. And then you know what? I'm just going to keep it there, guys, because I don't have a new schedule in front of me, and I know Ash
I'll
will
make
make
it as
one
simple
soon.
as possible. We're covering Stardom on every afternoon of Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday next week.
Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, there you go. Well, there you have it, guys. So if you're a Stardom fan, you're getting fucking spoiled. We eating good in this neighborhood. Well, maybe sponsored by Applebee's because, Olive Garden betrayed me. So, keep that in mind, everyone. And we will see you then. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Love all of you. Thank you for keeping my sanity together, even if only barely, because our healthcare system is so fundamentally broken. I still don't have a therapist. But until we meet again, remember, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, keep trying your best. I'm proud of you. Tune in and peace out.